What is going on, everybody, and welcome. It is the long-awaited return of the Horror Roundtable. We got a couple already backstage. Do some introductions. Old school message board member, old school YouTuber, an all-around great guy. Even though, he doesn't really like Mad Men that much, I can forgive that. But, what's up, man?
I'm doing well. Thanks for having me. Hope everyone's having a good night. And yeah, can't complain so far. So thanks for having me.
Cool. Mark is out running his Jankum. How do you pronounce that?
Jankum.
Runs Jankum. He'll be in here shortly, I'm sure. And also joining us backstage right now, a baller and shot caller from way back, Mr. Carter.
What's up? What's up, guys? How y'all doing?
Oh, not too much, man. Just hanging out here on a Thursday night. It's a cold Thursday night in Appalachia. But we're going to warm everybody up with some horror talk or just whatever the hell you guys want to talk about. It's going to be fun. Uncle Bill is eating some old man's asshole right now. He went to a recital earlier, and I don't think he's going to make it, but who knows? He may be late. He's just
trying out for Black Swan 2. Electric Boogaloo.
Yeah, he loves dancing around like the big pussy that he is. He's always.
So he was the one that was dancing?
Yes, it was his recital.
All right.
It was his recital. All right. But we've got a bunch of people in chat already. Appreciate you guys tuning in. And the join in links are on DEADPITonPatreon.com and the YouTube members section. If you guys want to join us, we'll be here for at least the next couple of hours talking the talk. But we do have Black Peter in here. He is missing Uncle Bill, and Uncle Bill is missing Black Peter. Valentine's Eve, yep. Creepy Onion. Melusine is going to reveal some X-rated, because that's all they do, X-rated stuff, right? On, is it noon tomorrow? I think is when they're dropping that. The 50% off sale on the filth. Devilish Daddy, baby, Devilish Daddy. Matthew Black, the Spirit Crusher. That sounds like a wrestler from like USWA back in the day.
Deadly Game, was that the Harvey Keitel Madonna movie, the Abel Ferrara?
It may have been.
That Vinegar Syndrome just released.
That
movie's a piece of shit. Oh my god.
Oh yeah. Deadly Games is also Survivor Series 1998.
That's a great pay-per-view, actually.
Yeah. I was at the Monday Night Raw the next night after Survivor Series 98. That was the one where Hawk fell off the Titan
truck. Listen.
Was such our angle. That was so fucking shitty how they did it, because you could totally tell like there was some dude back there that had a dummy through it. Yeah.
And not only that, it was like a second or two off, so he like fell and then you see it. Yeah. I've been rewatching the Attitude Era. I started from January, a little bit before January '97 for like the last year. So much so that I actually had to go and buy off of Etsy, spend a shitload of money on all the episodes that got deleted since it went to Netflix. And it's been great. I just finished around SummerSlam 98. I forget the Highway to Hell. I forget how good that was. Mm-hmm. But that Hawk storyline, that's where I was just like, oh, this is... I'll take choppy your pee-pee, but like the Hawk thing, it was just... That was really in bad taste. They should.
Well, that was like... I think he was like deep in addiction and shit at this point too. So it was like a real thing, kind of.
Yeah, they'd have him like stumble onto commentary, and he'd be drunk and he'd be saying, "Hey Jerry, remember when you told me to no sell the pile driver in the Mid-South Coliseum?" But it's like knowing that he died, like 3 or 4 years later from a heart attack.
Yeah,
at a random question.
Young age. Yeah.
Random question: who is a better Legion of Doom, Draws or Crush?
Crush.
Okay.
Yeah. Draws.
Well, Crush was Demolition though.
Oh, okay. I
Right.
forget that. Yeah.
I mean, it's
I don't know.
close. The gimmicks were kind of close. Somebody was mentioning Demolition down here too. That
Hall of Fame.
they had signed a Legends deal, and yeah, they may be
Oh
getting into
wow.
the Hall of Fame this year.
Well,
which-
they should have a long time ago.
Did you guys know the whole story though behind that? Like they were involved in that big, like, was it CTE lawsuit that they had,
Oh,
Yeah.
and Vince fucking hated both of those guys.
mm.
Axe is like 77 years old, so
Damn. Yeah.
Yeah.
Put him in. You know, it kind of pisses me off. They do this stuff, and they did it when like Vader and Sid, they were both alive and well, and they could have put him in the Hall of Fame, and they put Vader in after he died, and they're probably going to do the same thing with Sid. But it's like,
didn't
Yeah.
Vader induct somebody? Like he was there. At
Yeah.
one.
I forget who he inducted. He inducted somebody, but you know. And I mean, there's really no qualification for that. Fucking Great Khali's in the Hall of Fame.
Is he in the Hall of Fame, Craig Call?
Yes,
Yeah.
I swear.
Oh man.
Yeah. Yeah. They basically give it out to whoever now. If you work there.
Yeah, they're going to run out of people though. I mean, especially like headliners, because Triple H is like the headlining guy this year.
It depends.
The-
How many cousins do The Rock have?
Well, The Rock isn't even in it, so that's like the last big one.
He's got probably a couple dozen cousins left to put in there. Mother-in-laws.
But like headliners though, who would be like big headline guys left? I know Batista. They almost
Yeah,
put him in, and then COVID happened, so he would be
Yeah.
one that they could do.
that's
I think-
another one.
Demolition could be a headlining. I mean, I think so. I don't know.
No, now that you think about it, yeah, off the top of my head, I can't think.
What
of
was
it.
that thing Chris Jericho said? I will never be. He did some deals
Good.
like
God, dude,
I never
What
want
a
to be in it, or I don't care, or something. Like no one asked your opinion.
He's all up.
Fat ass.
He's all up Tony Khan's ass. And I don't blame these guys. I mean, I hate the fucking product. Like, it's
Yeah.
awful. It's one of the
It's
worst
awful.
wrestling promotions of all time. Dude, I'm not shitting you. TNA wrestling, night and day. If you watch TNA today,
Mhm.
it's way more watchable than AEW is.
Really?
If you watch TNA, even when they sucked, and you know, like when the Russo was writing shit, and they had that's even better than AEW. AEW is horrible, and like guys like Chris Jericho and Edge or Cope, whatever the fuck they're calling them now, they go there and they just they destroy their especially Edge, because I still like Edge, but that's pathetic, man.
The rated
It's
R
just-
superstar Cope.
Yeah, Cope. That's exactly where his fucking career is. He's coping right now.
He's going to cope with dope soon, maybe.
Dope.
Help him through. I think a lot of these guys, though, if your career's done, which, I mean, maybe to him that's his mindset, and it's like Tony Khan is paying like an exorbitant amount of money for these guys to just really work 1 or 2 days a month, really.
Mhm.
And a lot of them just sit home and collect a paycheck. They're paying Sasha Banks $5 million a year. And she's terrible.
She's terrible, dude.
Yeah.
When she was in WWE, I think they masked a lot of that terribleness. But when you let somebody full force somewhere else, it's not
Is-
good.
Is the bid show still there?
In
think
AEW,
so.
I think he's probably collecting a paycheck.
I was going to say, what's he doing?
Tony Khan's just got enough money to just pay his medical bills. That's dude. I'm not even joking. The Super Bowl was just down here last week. His dad had a fucking yacht in the Mississippi River with a helicopter on. It was the most crazy shit. That's how much money they have.
Mhm.
Like this whole AEW thing. That's what's crazy about it. As bad as it is, it's not like they are in risk of losing a business. Even if they did, it'd be like a minor write-off. So he basically gave his son an allowance to just play wrestler, which is, you think he'd come up with something better than
Now-
what he's got.
They made their money on, is it some sort of like trailer hitch thing or something? It's
I'm
something
not
like
sure.
that.
I'm
Yeah.
not sure. Yeah, I know
think it's
he's
something like that. Yeah. But
at the same time, they own the Jacksonville Jaguars, and anybody that knows football, the Jaguars are just been garbage since the beginning.
Forever,
So they're
yeah.
clearly not good at running shit, like in the sports or sports entertainment world.
You got people in here talking about China's clitoris and
Oh
how
God,
smart Psycho Sid was. Uncle Bill's
Dude, the-
watching One Night in China tonight.
what was that line where Brett's cutting the promo in the ring? And he's like, "I should be champion, you know it, and I know it." And Sid's walking down to the ring, and he goes, "I don't know shit, you crybaby." Classic.
You remember the big rant that Brett had like right before he turned heel, where he pushed Vince down and was like, "This is bullshit."
Okay, because
Yeah.
I've been watching it since in order, binge watching all recently. If there was an ever earliest start of the Attitude Era, you can make it the moment that, because like by the time that USA Canada storyline happened, the audience was just hot in the it never went away, and that edginess, it kind of started there,
Right.
That was
I had heard Brett talk about that though. That was actually planned, but it was supposed to go down after it went off TV. So he didn't realize they were still on TV when all that went down. Evidently.
that is so good.
Yeah.
That was him. He was at his best at that moment.
I couldn't believe it. I was shocked because this was what, 97, I think.
Yeah.
There's
a promo where he's going off on America and their heroes, and he goes, "You got heroes like O.J. Simpson and Charles Manson and Shawn Michaels." So good.
Jackson Jack, man, where do you fucking come up with these?
I saw that.
I can't put that on.
I thought you were going to ignore that.
I think Jackson Jack might be the funniest chatter. That dude cracks me up.
He is always around too. He's like the highwayman of these chats. Like he's in all your chats too, isn't he, Rambo? When you do the live streams, usually.
Yeah, I've seen him from time to time. Yeah.
Yeah.
Although he's never asked me that question.
Greg is asking about a wrestling ranking. We've been talking about doing WrestleMania rank, like a tier ranking show.
Yeah,
I think that'd be kind of fun.
Because there's so many good ones and there's so many bad ones.
Yeah.
What's your favorite?
My favorite of all time. That's tough. There's a lot that I like the early ones.
Yeah.
WrestleMania 5 with Hogan and Savage, like that's one of my favorites. Seven I watched over and over and over again. From top to bottom, 7 is pretty solid card too.
Ultimate Warrior's best match by far. With
Nasty Boy's best match by far as well.
Yeah.
That may have been their only good match. Like a Nasty Boys.
I like I know it's a cliched answer, but I like 17. I just think that's
a good one that I haven't really revisited a whole lot. But yeah, that's kind of like
that's like the end of the Attitude, because Invasion started right after WCW just went out of business.
That
it was
like
never the same.
at its peak right there. And kind of.
Then it went to shit.
The competition went away, and they just didn't care anymore.
Dude, I was a little kid like during that whole time period, and when you're little, you love everything. Even I was like, "Oh God, this sucks," and just stopped watching it. Like within like a good maybe 6 months, like pretty fast. It went horrible.
Yeah,
that could be a whole show too. The fucking Invasion era. That has to be the worst storyline because the damage it did to the popularity of the product, I guess, and it really never recovered.
Yeah. But anyway, guys, we got a lot of stuff we could talk about tonight. Some current events. People in the chat, if there's anything recent that went down you want us to talk about, wrestling related, movie related, whatever. But I thought I would kick it off and talking about Valentine's Day is coming up. Do you guys have like a particular favorite Valentine's horror movie?
My Bloody Valentine.
Yeah, that's the
easy
one.
One.
Granddaddy of them, yeah.
Shit, I'm trying to think.
There's not a lot really.
No, there's a lot of bad ones.
Valentine.
Like, yeah, that's
Yeah.
no good.
Oh, God. I know it's supposed to be
Yeah.
Cupid, but I always think he looked like the Campbell Soup Kid.
He did.
Yeah. I don't know.
Why do you think
Honestly,
so many people like that movie now, though? Like
Do
everybody's
they?
putting it over.
yeah.
Really?
Like, Tabata Vision pops in and out every now and again in the chat, and he really loves Valentine. It's got a fan base.
I
It's
think
not my cup of
like
tea.
because Tabata and Christian and all those guys are a bit younger.
Hmm.
I think
I'm the
like
same age though. Like we're the same age. I thought it was shit.
I
but-
think for them though, like, a lot of times, like if it's something you grew up with and watched when you were
Yeah.
a kid, it's similar to like some of the shitty movies that we like. That
No, that's definitely the truth because it's definitely because, for example, like Jeepers Creepers 2 to me has a soft spot in my heart, even though now knowing what you know, but I saw it so young and it freaked me the hell out, and then come to find out that it's a ripoff of a South Park episode.
what about the My Bloody Valentine remake? I've only seen that a couple of times, but it's not that bad. I thought it was okay.
Yeah, it's decent. It's decent for a remake. I mean, obviously the 3D gimmick was popular.
Mhm.
I kind of wish they didn't do that because a lot of times when you try to watch them, they're just much more obvious
Mhm.
because of the 3D shit they try to put in there. And
Yeah,
most
I
of the
saw it.
time, you don't have the stuff to see it in the way you're
I
supposed
saw
to.
I saw it in a theater, and I had a great time. Me and my friends at the time I was in high school.
I saw it
Yeah,
in
it's
2D in the theater.
yeah, it's fun.
Yeah, it's not bad.
I mean, it's compared to most remakes, especially around that time. It's like it's very good comparison to what was coming out around that time.
The
Although-
girl in the beginning too, man, that runs
Yeah.
around naked for like the first 15
Yeah,
minutes of the movie.
that's great.
Hell yeah. I think I had her on Facebook for a long time. Betsy something was her name. Yeah, she's good looking for sure.
And that needs to come back in movies. We need,
What about
I'm just talking about. It seems like they're too scared to do like nudity or anything like that.
yeah, that's a big no-no now for some reason.
We got to bring it back. Somebody just got to do it. And
Well,
then
The
everybody else can
Substance,
follow.
they did it, but that wasn't really a studio movie. So
Right.
No.
that was probably one of those things that Universal wanted them to cut.
Thank God that the director, she stuck with her guns because, I mean, fuck, dude, I can't put that movie over enough. I know I don't want to sound like overhyping to anybody that hasn't seen it yet, but so good.
Yeah.
That was a memorable one for sure.
I mean,
I'm
you
curious
can.
if any Academy Awards is going to be one with that. That'd be
They're
kinda,
thinking if anything, it might win best screenplay. There's actually two movies that are nominated that I can say I really did like, and The Substance, and the one that surprised the hell out of me was that movie Anora that came out last year, that Sean Baker movie.
Mhm.
Pretty.
I've got that on my
pretty damn
watch
good.
list. I haven't checked it out yet. Yeah, that's one that
It caught me by surprise as to what you think it's one type of movie, and then it's it's probably one of the funniest fucking movies to come out in years, to be honest with you, because it's kind of a comedy.
That's what everybody's saying about that Hard Eyes movie too. That it's like kind of a romantic comedy with slasher elements, and I'm like, what the fuck? How in the hell is that going to work?
Didn't you say Uncle Bill put it over?
Uncle Bill liked it. He did like it.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, I mean, it could work. I mean, if they do it
Wait a
right,
minute. The guy that hates romantic comedies with a passion. He like
That's all bullshit.
That's
you know it is.
interesting.
And
He loves When Harry Met Sally.
shitting all over E.T. It's just because it broke his heart at the end of the movie. He thought E.T. was dying for the first time. He cried his eyes out.
That shit was hilarious. It was like just out of nowhere, nonchalantly, I fucking hate E.T. and everybody was just like was taken aback and they were like, "Wait, what?"
Who the hell hates E.T.? Yeah.
Like, yeah.
A lot of people do.
I mean, it's not my favorite Spielberg movie, but god damn.
All right, so What's some more? Lover's Lane. That's one that a lot of people were putting over, kind of underground, but Arrow finally re-released it. You guys seen that one?
Mm-mm. Haven't seen
Mm-mm.
that one.
That's think of like a Scream era. It may be Canadian, but yeah, it's set around. It's kind of Valentine's themed as well. But yeah, there's not a whole lot really. Hospital Massacre wasn't that one that was set around Valentine's Day? I don't know.
I don't remember that one.
Getting kind of
Which one was it
obscure.
called again?
Is it Hospital Massacre or
Oh.
it's set in a hospital? I don't know.
Fuck, I'm trying to find
Yeah, I mean,
movies.
off the top of my head, I couldn't even name that many Valentine's theme movies other than My Bloody Valentine.
Lover's Lane is very generic. It's
Yeah.
similar to some of the direct to video. I think it was direct to video when it came
Oh,
out.
I got one for you. Does the 1972 Tales from the Crypt with Peter Cushing, does that count as Valentine's horror? Because they make the fake Valentine's cards so he
Yeah,
kills himself.
I would count it.
Uh,
That's a
so,
killer
yeah.
movie too. Yeah,
That's
I
a
like the whole
great movie.
Yeah.
Yeah. And that
Barbie.
story in particular is really good.
Barbie Benton's tits in that movie, they are fantastic. I was watching, me and Dirk were reviewing, it was the last movie that Don Jones ever made. Like the guy that did The Forest, which I'm a big mark for The Forest, always have been.
Mm-hmm.
And this is called Molly and the Ghost. And it starts off like it's going to be a fucking porno, like a early 90s porno movie. It has the music. You got some naked boobage going on. This girl in it had they had to be her real boobs. They were the weirdest shaped fucking things ever was. Dirk said that they were like orangutan titties. It's like they were like football shaped. I don't know. It's so weird.
Oh, wow. Yeah.
But yeah, she was very hot other than that. Like her tits are like, what the hell's going on? But
What's going on here?
was the Prowler around Valentine's? It may have been. It's been a long time since I've seen the Prowler. The Prowler's not a very good movie, really.
No.
It's it's a definition of one of those slashers that's only remembered because of the kills. Everything else is just
Right.
boring.
And the
as shit.
concept of it's kind of cool. The look of the killer's cool.
The look of the killer, that's the thing. The look of
Yeah.
the killer is cool, the kill, but everything else is just blech.
Yeah. So any other Valentine's horror movies you guys can think of?
No, not really.
Well, let me ask, when did you first see the original My Bloody Valentine? As a kid?
I think that a buddy of mine rented it. It was always one of his favorites, and he had seen it like a couple of times before. I was probably 13 or 14 when I saw it on video for the first time.
Mm-hmm.
And when they did the uncut version, though, like that really upped it for me. Like the cut versions on video and everything is fine, and it's still good. But yeah, when they released the uncut version, I think it was on, which was it, Lionsgate did the DVD of it.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that totally changed it for me.
Yeah, because I remember as a kid looking at this one, for folks who don't remember, they had VHS tapes at gas stations.
Oh,
to rent.
shit.
And because we didn't have video stores around, it was just, you want to rent them, go to a gas station and do it. And I was freaked out by the cover because it's a very creepy looking cover as a kid, so I didn't watch it till years later. And I agree with you, like I always liked it, but when the uncut version, that's one of those uncut versions that was like worth it. I don't know if that makes sense, because a lot of times they say it's uncut, then you watch it, it's like Friday the 13th uncut, and there's like 2 seconds more.
Yeah. You
Texas
can't even
Chainsaw
tell.
3.
It's like,
Yeah.
what in the hell did they even add back in here?
But that's one of those few that it really was an uncut version, and that's very, I wouldn't say it's rare, but it's nice that it's got cleaned up. I mean, as much as I crap on Stream Factory, I think it did look a bit more cleaned up, which was nice. That's one positive I'll say.
Yeah, I
And
got that. I got the Steelbook, the Scream Factory Steelbook. I love it. I first saw it because of the show. Like, really, it was right around the time the remake was coming out, and I mean, it's just got such a different look and feel than most slashers do at the time, and it's definitely stands on its own and just concept too. The
also, you
underground
heard
element.
Wes and Aaron talk about it and
Yeah,
maybe
yeah, yeah.
watch
It
it.
wasn't one of those ones like I heard. You know, it was because of the show, and they were putting it over. A lot of movies I saw, from because of the show, like a lot of the deep cuts. I'd say My Bloody Valentine is somewhat of a deep cut. It's not, Halloween, Nightmare on Elm Street that, many people know. But that one, it's got a cool look to it. Like, I always loved the concept, always loved the kills. I think I've only ever seen the uncut version. And it was one of those movies, believe it or not, I found that way back in the day at Big Lots for like $4
Hell
on
yeah.
DVD. Yeah.
Fucking Big Lots, man. I'm going to miss them.
Yeah, but ours finally just closed down. It's been open like for almost 30 years. And
I think the one in
gone.
Prestonsburg is closing at the end of the month.
Mm.
I haven't been in there. I want to go in there maybe one more time to see how much they've marked stuff down. But yeah, last time I went in there was like a couple of weeks ago, and it was only like 30% off or something.
Yeah, for a while
I
there,
want 60 or 70% off.
for a while there, and you guys were putting it over, and it was down here by me too. Do you remember for a period of time they would have like a shitload of like Anchor Bay DVDs in their bins, like horror,
I
like
don't.
older like this. It was around like the time Blu-ray was coming out, so DVDs were already kind of passe. But I remember that's where I got My Bloody Valentine from, out of all places.
They were always fairly priced too. They'd have what was it? Those MGM midnight movies, and they'd have like a huge display of that stuff for like $3.99, $4.99 a piece.
Yeah.
And, yeah.
I remember first getting the DVD. It was the one with the shittiest cover, where they just like drew on the window like a heart or something. Like,
Yeah,
I had
yeah.
that same one. Yeah.
and I'm like, you're not even trying with this cover.
That was Paramount's. And
Yeah.
I got a lot too, like when there was still video stores here up until like probably 2011, 2012. And there was so much shit coming out. Like Lionsgate was coming out with like probably 10 different horror movies every week, like independent movies and stuff like that. So, and like every week, every Tuesday, they would like have a gigantic bunch of these movies for sale for like $5 a piece or something like that. And I got a lot of shit that way, but there's some good stuff too. There's stuff that surprised me, like that I don't even know if this got re-released. There was a very creepy, kind of un-PC movie called Baby Blues that was in that lot of stuff that I highly recommend people trying to track that one down. But yeah, the video store era, man, that once that ended, like, have you guys noticed, like, it's been a slow decline with the physical media stuff? Like, video stores went out, the red box stuff is gone. They're out of Best Buy. They're slowly getting, like, Target's almost completely gone. Physical media, it seems like.
Walmart, for the longest time, Walmart had all those bins, and now they took all those bins out where they dumped the movies in. Now it's just new releases, some TV shows. Like yeah, go ahead.
What's crazy is my Walmart doesn't have any of that shit. It'll have like MASH on DVD. Like there's barely any. There's more action figures on the same aisle. Like for people our age that still play with action figures and buy and collect that shit. There's a bigger section of that than there is any physical media. And you know what the funniest part is? There's a gigantic vinyl section, like a big vinyl section, but DVDs, Blu-rays. Certainly not finding a 4K. I have yet to see a 4K. The only place that really sells it's Barnes and Noble, and their shit is so expensive, even more expensive than.
How are they still
any
around?
websites.
Who the fuck shops there?
I think every year, parents have to buy summer reading books for their kids for school. So they have like a boom period once a year where people are forced to go buy books, and
How much
that's
longer
why.
though do you think and there's some of these companies are halting the production on players now.
Yeah.
I'm thinking it's 5 years or less. Like you're not going to find anything like that in the store of
Right.
any
Yeah.
kind, like physical media wise. And like that to me, like it, and if you look at over the years, it cheapens the price, like the value of the movie itself, and that's really movies now are really throwaway. Like they'll come out in a
Um.
theater within a
Yeah.
couple, a month or two later, they're out streaming, Blu-ray or whatever. It's
You,
just changed so much. It's kind of scary, really. Like I'm wondering, in 20 years, where's the movie business going to be?
well, even bigger than that, you just said it. Recently, Tarantino said that 2019 was the last year of real movies because post-COVID, movies are thrown out in the theater and within a week or two, except for rare exceptions, but within a week or two are on streaming and then lost in the shuffle, and that it's all completely changed, and that some companies don't just look at it as content now. So it's just bizarre. I think that, like you said, it's just disposable, not only in physical form, but just the movies themselves. Um, as far as physical goes, so I don't know if it'll ever go away because I mean, not it'll be very niche. Put it that way. It'll be like what vinyl is, where maybe in 20 years,
But what
if
can
people get
they
hip to it.
like? Will they still be finding movies that haven't come out? Like I just don't know. Are
No, but
people?
they'll probably, down the road, and who knows, it might become hip again. So, oh, look, like people do with vinyl. Oh, look at this 4K, and then it'll be the same, car with new paint. It'll be a different cover or whatever. But I'm talking way down the line. I think it's definitely gonna end up being where it's just these boutique labels, and they jack the price up even more because supply and demand.
Carter, are you still buying quite a bit of stuff like physical media stuff?
No, I slowed down quite a bit. I mean, it's just A, is space, and then B, like, I don't want to be $30,000 in debt, but
Oh God, we don't want to go down that road.
yeah.
We've made people
I don't know what you're
cry
talking
themselves
about.
to sleep. I can't.
Yeah.
I guess.
I don't want to.
But look, here there's certain things though, like you gotta pick and choose your battles, folks. So like there's a movie that I like somewhat and it's a ridiculous price. I'm not gonna be like, oh, I need to get it, but if there's something like you were waiting for The Hitcher, and I like that movie too. I didn't get it, but if there was a movie I loved quite a bit that was coming out, then yeah, I'm gonna spend money on it. If that Elm Street collection comes out, I'm gonna spend money on it. I'm not, but I'm not gonna buy.
$300 on it.
No, definitely not. Absolutely not.
Fuck that.
No, is that what it's projected to be?
That was the word.
I think
That's
that
almost
that
the
was
price of one of those Texas chainsaws, man.
the only thing I can think of is if it's $300, it's one of those like steelbook box sets like they did in the Rambo set. But I don't know why. Why in the hell? Because what is it? 7 movies or 6? I think
They're doing the first
7.
7 was what the rumor is, which I'm perfectly fine with.
Yeah. So, I mean, we'll see.
I mean, I don't own those on any. I don't have my DVDs of them anymore. I don't have that shitty Blu-ray that came out because I don't like those movies that much. But if it did come out, I would probably buy it just because of the hype. But if it's like $300, nah, fuck that.
Man, Wes Ray, I'm right there with you, dude. We need the King Frat 4K scratch and sniff slip cover. I've
Fuck
told
yeah,
Felcher
dude.
he can get it from David Gregory said that he has some, I guess, a film print of it, and they could do it.
If they do that, let's just say hypothetically they do that, and they don't contact you guys to do some kind of special feature or commentary, that'd be a damn shame.
They ain't gonna I already know. Nobody fucking
telling
gets us to do shit. We'll even
King
go.
Frat.
We can go as far as to fucking record it. They're like, oh, we can't use that.
What's this Southern bullshit?
Yeah.
Throw it in the trash.
But
They did like two historians who've never seen the film before. It's
Yeah.
like Peter Lorber does.
right.
It's just like,
These
hey,
hoity
these guys are actually
British film
fans.
historian guys.
There's
The two
yeah. I don't know, man. I don't think it's going to go away completely. I really don't think that's the case. I think things are going to get more expensive, absolutely, even more than they are now, unfortunately, and that's going to be the market. But I don't know if it'll ever go away. Even if certain companies like Sony, whoever stop making it, I mean, I'm sure it's not rocket science for some smaller whatever company to start producing probably expensive players. But
Yeah, the price.
I mean, look, people
ridiculous.
are buying Flesh Eater on 4K. You know,
I did. I have it.
but
I
you bought it when it was like $5, right?
I like Flesh Eater, man. Like, I think that movie is a hell of a lot of fun. Like, it's shitty, but to me, it's entertaining.
What's the worst thing you've gotten from Vinegar Syndrome where you were like, Jesus Christ?
There's a couple. One that immediately comes to mind is the Fear, the original Fear movie that they did.
Wes Craven.
He's in it. Wes Craven somehow is in it as an actor. That one's fucking terrible. Like, evidently the one that I remember liking was they did a sequel to it that's way better than the original movie. But I don't think I'd ever seen the original movie before.
Yeah, mine would be this movie Shriek of the Mutilated. It was a 70s, like, supposed to be Yeti scary movie. I'm like, that absolutely, that's had me all on it.
1,000-meter films. What's going on?
How's it going, fellas?
Not too much. How you doing?
Doing all right. How about y'all?
Doing good. I don't think you've ever joined us on here before, so welcome.
I have not. I've been on for a long time, but this is a first time join. So
Cool.
Yeah.
Welcome. Appreciate you stopping by and joining us.
absolutely, guys. Yeah.
So yeah, the Roundtable shows. Anything you guys want to talk about? If you guys have anything, just throw it out there, and that's just how we do it.
Yeah, Hobgoblins was pretty bad too.
I've got Hobgoblins. I haven't watched it. I've got all kinds of Vinegar Syndrome shit I haven't even opened.
Yeah,
I've
nobody.
got like 6 on the shelf right over there. Never touched them.
I knew to stay away from Hobgoblins because I was a huge Mystery Science Theater fan, and that was the perfect episode for that because they were just firing on all cylinders. But when you take that away and it's just the movie itself, it's like, oh God, it's horrible. And it's one of those bad where they're like, oh, we're kind of aware that we're bad, and that's never good.
Yeah. Vinegar Syndrome's gimmick worked well for a while, but now I'm extremely selective on the stuff that I get.
In their defense, not to defend them too much, in their defense, because I hear people saying, why they release this, why they release that. From what I know, if they have something that's like in condition to where it will fall apart or it will rot, they will prioritize that first, like to get it out before it completely just crumbles apart. So that's why you'll have like a bunch of bullshit every now and again. Or
There he
more than
is.
every now and again.
Let's
Hey,
try
on,
this
guys?
setup. Let's see. There we go. I think this
hell
works
yeah,
a little
dude.
better.
How's the Jankum business?
Oh, it's all good. Business is always good. Never stops.
Woo! Just mixing some piss and shit all night long, baby.
That's
Woo.
right.
Is it a big
that what-
Valentine's Day hit?
Oh yeah,
Gosh.
that's the busiest time of the
Get your
year.
fucking wild girlfriend some of that shit.
Oh yeah.
This is
Crater
random.
Mania's in the house. Check his channel out. He just started
Oh, cool.
the man they call Crater. So,
Police Academy was great.
oh,
First
I love
4
the
are
police.
fun.
I love all of them except Mission to Moscow. That's the
I was going to
only.
say
I can't watch
Which-
that one.
Which one was that? Like, what number was that?
the last one, 7.
That killed
Wow.
the series. Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't think I ever got past 2, to be honest with you.
Oh man, you need to go and check them. I like them all, but yeah, pretty much everybody says the first 4 is pretty solid.
I remember very little about the first 2, so I guess I do need to go back and check them out. I guess HBO Max would have them probably because they're Warner Brothers, right?
Yeah.
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 Dude,
Okay.
those freaking movies were like, as a kid on like cable, the HBO alternative channels, it seemed like they had a Police Academy, a different one on every channel at all times. It's always on.
I've still got the big box set that Warner Brothers did with those shitty snapper cases or whatever.
Oh
'Cause
yeah.
honestly, it's still the best box set that's out
Snapper
for it.
case.
Yeah. Because like Scream or Shout Factory did just this half-ass set. And it's just shitty. Like, I think it's in a regular size Blu-ray case or something like that. But,
Do you remember the old discs where one side was widescreen, you'd have to flip the other full
Yeah.
screen widescreen? Yeah.
the flipper discs, the early
Yeah.
Anchor Bay DVDs, which they were doing DVDs like horror editions in '97. They were actually flippers like laser discs, where you would watch half of the movie and then you would have to flip it over and watch the other half. I think the first Dawn of the Dead was like that. They did.
Goodfellas and Heat were like that too. You had to flip
Creep-
them over on those first
Creep-
DVDs.
The original Creepshow DVD was like that. This is the first DVD we ever got. We got like a few of them. I think it was Creepshow and Austin Powers Goldmember when we first got our DVD player. And the Creepshow one was those old, snapper case.
I
have
hate
to
those
flip it
flipper
around.
discs. Because
Yeah,
I feel like I blinked and they was scratched. I just
Oh,
blinked
yeah.
and they get fucking
Yeah.
scratched about.
Yeah.
I hated those damn snapper cases too. Like, especially if
they
you're
were
putting them on the
garbage.
shelves with like other regular DVDs, they would always like not go in right or whatever
Mm-hmm.
and stick out
Yeah.
like a sore thumb.
The wear and tear was like, they last for like 5 minutes. The spine is like, the whole piece is cardboard, so the spine was always the first thing to go,
Yeah. If we get like warped and bent down the middle and kind of get smashed. Terrible.
I wonder what the thought there was though. Did like studios think that, well, VHS boxes are made of cardboard. This is what people are used to generally, with the exception of clamshells. Let's just do
Was that-
DVDs like this. Like, was that the thought, you think?
Was that like the earliest ones made? Because I mean, I don't
Yeah.
remember like that was what they originally came up with. Yeah.
Yeah, I think Warner Brothers was like the first company that released like in early '97. So they were like one of the early DVD.
I want to say The Matrix was the first DVD that was put out, so that would have been them.
Oh
Yeah.
wow.
Hmm.
Damn.
Yeah,
I
they
was never
had.
bothered by these. They always work for me. I don't know what the hell you guys are doing. Just throw them off the fucking wall. There's no condition for me.
Man, I remember back in like the early 2000s, we used to do the Columbia House catalogs.
Yeah, I've done
And
that
that's
a
how
few
all
times.
that's how all their DVDs would come in. And I remember when I first started getting into horror movies, like the Halloween movies was like my gateway into slashers. And I remember I couldn't wait to open the catalog, and I'm like, whatever Halloween movie's on here, I'm going to buy. Like, there's 8 of them at this point as a kid. Whatever one it is, I'm going to get. My parents are cool with it. And the only one they had available was Halloween 5.
Oh my god.
So, yeah, that
Man,
was the
those
one unfortunately I
early-
was stuck with.
Those early DVDs, like the first couple of years there that I had a player, you weren't getting any DVD cheaper than like $25. They're all
No.
at least that much.
Yeah, I
man.
remember
And then
that.
when Walmart came out with like their bargain section, probably like 2004, 2005,
Mhm.
like 588 or whatever, I thought I'd hit the fucking jackpot, man. I was picking up like all the shitty Amityville movies, and Night Flyer was in that, I think. There was a bunch.
Texas Chainsaw, The Next Generation.
Yeah. Texas Chainsaw, The Next
Yeah.
Generation.
Yeah.
A lot of those MGM ones were real cheap.
What about the I have it in the other room. The Goats DVD and Bad DVD covers that Texas Chainsaw 2 DVD cover with Dennis Hopper looking all spooked like
With a
"Ooh."
chainsaw.
Yeah.
Hey, boy.
Terrible.
We actually still have those around here. What about you guys? You still got those Walmart bins? It's $5 bins.
No.
I haven't seen one. I don't go out to stores a lot, but I haven't seen a bin like that in a Walmart in a long time. At least not at my local one. There's not one like
Well, I
that.
have it's not a super center, it's just a standard Walmart. And I don't think that they have the bins. No. But that primarily most of the physical media is DVDs, though. They don't have the only 4Ks and Blu-rays that they have are like new releases, and they have them out for that 1 week, and then they send them back or whatever they do.
Dude, you remember Best Buy like 20 years ago? Just every aisle was a genre movie, and horror was gigantic, man. I remember
Yeah.
distinctively when they had the Hellraiser Lament Configuration box set on the shelf.
Yeah.
That's the thing
And,
that I wish like smartphones came along like in the early 2000s, so people would video that shit. Like I would love to see it again because it's like
I don't.
so
Yeah.
unbelievable the stuff that they carried in Best Buy.
Yeah, they never carry that shit now. I mean, well, they
No.
don't
Guinea
carry
pig.
physical media anyway, but I mean, it seemed like every store that carried like anything seemed to have like some sort of movie section.
You just
Hell,
still
even
You're done.
Circuit City, like all those stores that everybody had some movie
Circuit City has, yeah.
Yeah.
You can still see that stuff on YouTube. People videotape with a video camera because I've seen some on YouTube where there's an old like video store like On Cue, which was a local one where I grew up and stuff. Like from back in the day, you just see just how different it is.
Those videos there's one channel on there. I think the guy was a videographer for like a local news channel, and he would do the establishing shots, when you watch local news as the anchor or the reporter rather is talking over it. I guess he did that for a long time. His name was something Vampire. But anyway, he uploaded all of those videos, but it's like the title's like you're in 1996 at the mall on Christmas, and you click it and it's just like 20 minutes of him just because that's what his job was, just to record. And it's like almost like the closest thing to a time machine, genuinely, where it's like, holy shit.
I've actually seen that channel. I think I stumbled onto it one night after I'd taken a gummy. And
Hell yeah.
yeah, I meant to watch
dude.
one video, and then before I knew it, I'd been sitting there like an hour and a half watching just old footage from a mall, or
It's kind of-
several videos probably.
It's kind of mesmerizing, to be honest with you, because it's like how, and you know what I mean? And it's because it's everything. He had one where it was like a bunch that he took on 9/11 of people just stopping like at the mall or whatever and just watching the TVs like during, as 9/11 happened. It's crazy. And then it's in that camcorder quality too that they used back then.
Wow. Huh.
Yeah.
I'll have to check
I wish
that
I wish I knew his channel name. It's something Vampire, so I remember that.
This is kind of topical. This is new. The new episodes of Cobra Kai is out, and you guys checked them out yet?
No.
I'm a couple of seasons behind. I kind of lost a little bit of interest after I guess season 2 because it's a good enough show, right? But I keep having this thought of, all right, guys, we're in our mid 40s now. How many issues can we solve in the karate tournament at this point?
The last couple of seasons, it's got pretty damn goofy too. Like they have this character that looks like, is it Shang Tsung on Mortal Kombat or something like that? And it's the awfulest fucking makeup. Jesus Christ. Like it's just so hokey and cheesy. And I think he's like a central character in the last episodes or something. And it's like you see this guy and you're like, come on. It looks like a guy wearing one of those silicone masks or whatever. That's how shitty it looks.
Wow.
Yeah.
And the new movie, that's not going to be tied into Cobra Kai at all, right? That's its own thing, or
That's what I've heard, yeah.
Its own thing.
And it's connecting the remake to the original somehow.
Yeah.
That's like depressing. I'm not even a big karate, like, yeah, I like the first one, okay. But
I mean, I like Jackie Chan, but
that's where we are.
If Will Smith's son's in it, I'm out. I'm not watching it. I don't want to see him in it.
Nah, he's not in it.
Yeah, I don't think he is.
The state of movies, man, and that's where that got greenlit. Yeah, people will watch. That's wow. I think the entertainment industries had to hit rock bottom. I mean, not that there's not good shit still being made, but that, you know, the big titles, the big blockbusters now are a Karate Kid 2010 sequel. Like,
Well, that was
what are we
probably an
doing
easy
here?
green light though, because Cobra Kai is so big. So they probably just think, hey, we can get money from the butts on the couch and the butts in the seats at the theater if people will show up.
It's kind of
We're
weird
gonna-
that they didn't try to spin something off from that show, though, since the show's ending.
How about this? I got it. A multiverse opens up, and then the Karate Kid multiverse, and then they're interacting with each other, and they got that stuff. Gives a shit.
That is one thing I'm tired of is like the multiverses, and I'm a comic book person, but as far as the movies go, I'm tired of the multiverses, and I'm even more tired of everything is a cinematic universe. And before we even put this first movie out, we're going to announce that it's a whole cinematic universe we have here.
We're going to have all the logos and posters and everything for the next 15 movies.
Yeah.
Do you guys feel like right now the entertainment industry and movies at large is they don't know what to do because that's all dying. That's been done and stale. That's not hot anymore. The multiverse or the
Carter,
cinematic universe.
you tell me you don't look forward to 105-year-old Harrison Ford being a red giant Hulk?
No, I do not.
What?
That movie's going to fucking bomb.
What
You didn't know
movie
about
is
this?
that? No.
It's the new Captain America.
Harrison Ford plays the president. At the end,
Yeah.
he turns to a red Hulk. Going, "Grr." CGI red Hulk. His face, he didn't believe it.
I will go
I
see
can't
that,
believe
but I don't have high hopes for it.
It's this. What's crazy is this decade so far. There's no movies don't have an identity anymore. It's just like the stale, shitty, like dead decay of what worked 10, 15 years ago.
Are you
know
telling
what I mean?
me you don't look forward to new Jurassic Park with
No.
stone face Scarlett Johansson not showing her titties, being
Rambo
stone
is
face as possible?
Rambo. Let me ask you something. Would there be a genetically modified dinosaur in this one?
Yes,
Oh,
on an island, but it's the
Gives a
biggest
shit.
dinosaurs that he did this time.
yes.
The bigger.
I've lost track. How many Jurassic Park movies are there?
They're fucking.
I think this is 7, right?
Yeah, you're right. This is 7. And I saw the
Yep.
trailer for that one, and it does look like shit.
Rebirth.
And I'm a Jurassic Park fan, but it looks like
Yeah. The first one's one of my favorite top 10 movie of all time. And like none of the sequels have ever matched up, but it's just gotten to a point now where it's like, who gives a fuck? Like really?
I'm
Gives
like
a
that
shit.
with pretty much everything. It comes
Star Wars is
anything
Star Wars has
Disney
to be the most-
touches now. It's like,
right.
Yeah.
Has there been a studio that's went more downhill in the last 20 years than Disney?
No.
No, man. And now they're all wondering what the fuck to do because it's like, well, clearly this trajectory of what we've been going on and what we've been pushing has not been working out financially, and not if they've just looked at what the fuck's been happening lately. So, do you just double down and lose more money, or like what?
That's what they tend to do.
Yeah.
I remember there was a point in time whenever they started, it was the Force Awakens like came out and they were pushing out all this fucking shit. And I saw, I think it was in a Target, it was a fucking Darth Vader dehumidifier. And I'm sitting there looking at that and I'm like,
It's dead.
yeah. Like what
It's done. The goose is cooked.
I saw it, I was like, I couldn't believe it. Oh, that's okay. It's a fucking Darth Vader dehumidifier.
You didn't grab one, CK? Come on.
I
don't
thought
need
about it. I thought about it, but
I remember, and I'll be honest, when I saw The Force Awakens, I didn't hate it. I was like, okay, this is fun.
I didn't
liked it better
either.
in the prequel.
I didn't initially either, yeah.
But I remember going to see The Last Jedi, and I didn't read anything. I didn't look. I like going in blind as possible, especially back then. I wasn't. But at a certain point, I watched a movie, and I remember just leaving, being like kind of confused. And me and my cousin were like, yeah, that was something. Yeah, it was kind of good. All right, man, see you later. And the whole drive home, I'm like, that was fucking horrible. That was like really, really bad.
Yeah.
As soon as I get in the house, my phone rings, text, and it's my cousin. He goes, dude, I don't know about you, but that movie fucking blew. And I was like, yeah,
Was that the second one? I don't
Yeah.
know.
Mhm.
Okay.
that one. It was a moment where I realized not just Star Wars. I'm like, oh, I'm past this kind of movie in my life. Like
No,
I
you're
can't.
just sexist.
Right? Yeah, that too. Well,
You're
that goes without
sexist.
saying.
You're
When you
toxic.
see, I've only watched that
Negative.
movie one time. But
That's
what's
one time too many.
no, no.
Yeah, arguably that might even be too much. I mean, I was a big Star Wars fan, and then that movie happened, and I just got an hour into that thing, and I just remember thinking like, "Oh, so we're just doing the edgelord version of Star Wars now," because this makes no sense for any of these characters at all. And I kind of just checked out after that. Really,
Yeah, and it was like, okay, well, and there was another like for me at least, it was like a moment where I realized, well, this just isn't made for me anymore either. Like that's the thing. It's not. It's clearly I'm not in the demographic anymore, and I was just like, this sucks, but whatever. And when that third one came out, I'm like, I'm not going to see that. And I still haven't.
You're white, you're straight, and you're a guy. It's not made for you. That's right.
Yeah, it's just one of those things where it's like, and a lot of people, there's a whole economy of on people on YouTube that bitch about Star Wars, and I get it. It's a big money maker, but it's like, it's so bad, it's not even worth talking about. What makes it so special from anything else?
What it
now?
like mint green milk or something like that?
Something like that.
Yeah, he was.
What the fuck was that? Like,
Dude, the moment in that
and he
movie
was
where I
running
was
around like a fucking idiot or something.
He's
like,
a farmer. He needs his milk. How's he going to get his milk?
That's probably what Mark Hamill's been doing for the last month and a half, by the way. It's just been like disheveled stuff. But the moment where Carrie Fisher is like Gordon's fish stick frozen in space and beams her way back to the ship, I was just like, you gotta be fucking kidding me.
Mary
Like,
Poppins.
What the fuck is this?
You can definitely find good movies every year, that's for sure. But
Yeah.
it's nothing from Hollywood usually.
It's like rock music. You got to look for it.
Right.
Yeah.
You got to look at the indie scene.
That's the thing.
There's
Like,
good shit.
just, I mean, even if you think about it like this, it's 2025. We're halfway through this decade. Could you guys name 10 movies
No.
off the top of your head that are above 8 out of 10 even? Or 7.5 out of 10?
If
Not
I do,
horror.
they're all... Oh, not horror, no. Like, I think deep cut horror, it's been good. That's been the most... like, you know, like The Possessors and The Substances. But, you know, but like mainstream... I like the Nora that came out this year. I thought that was very good. But off the top of my head, it's fucking just...
But that's
would
the thing,
something.
like, go ahead.
I'm sorry, Mark. Would something from like Anora, like that comes from Neon, would that be considered mainstream, or are you just talking about like the big studio stuff?
Well, if you're asking me, like just anything, like, I mean, you look at like the 70s, the 80s, the 90s, you could name that stuff really quickly. You know,
You could
come
name
with the top
easily like top 10 every year. In the 80s.
Exactly.
Mark is Romulus.
Oh my god.
Yeah. No, I mean,
Non-horror.
seriously though, like there's like nothing. I mean, it's just
I like Top Gun Maverick. I like
A lot of
that.
people
That was a
put
good
that
one.
movie over. I haven't seen
Top Gun Maverick's good. It was fun.
I thought it was fine. I didn't get all the hype around it really.
Agreed.
I mean,
I'm gonna do a third one. I don't know though.
the fact that they didn't. I mean, because I'm not saying it was anything special, but it was one of those movies that you could tell they were like, it was to entertain you. There wasn't no lecturing. There wasn't no fucking. They didn't make Tom Cruise didn't come out a half a man and look like a piece of shit throughout the whole movie. The fact that they didn't do that just alone in itself, and whenever that movie came out, whatever year, that was, you know, it was.
Half a
I'd say
man.
it's a 7. Yeah,
Is that what
like,
you
you know what I mean. Yeah,
Like Emilio Perez.
A lot of people putting over the Deadpool and Wolverine movie, which I'll never watch that. I'm just not into that sort of thing.
I
Those
thought
movies
that was
annoy
fun.
me.
I would never watch it again though. Like
yeah, I mean, I enjoyed it, but it's like, you know, it's still just a comic book movie. I mean, like the shelf life on a lot of these movies that come out is like, it's just, It's just bad, man. This decade is awful. It's been the worst. I agree with the thing that Tarantino was saying about the 2019. Yeah, like it's
Because
not
this film
getting any
came
better.
out in 2019. That's what he said that year.
It's
I mean, but he's not
2019 was a
wrong,
pretty 2019
Yeah,
was a loaded year, I thought, in comparison to now. I'm not saying it was like the 90s, but compared to now, it's like you'll be lucky if you find. And like I said, if you take horror out the equation, I think horror might be the only thing that's shows how
John
consistent
Omega,
genre
come
is.
on. The Poltergeist remake.
He's
T-shirt.
trolling.
That was like 10 years ago.
Exorcist believer. No.
Teach their own.
Nobody
David
likes
Gordon.
the Exorcist believer. Now, come on. He's got to be fucking with you.
I knew them. I don't understand the people that came away from that being like, yeah, it was good. It was good. They did like I did with The Last Jedi. I think a lot of people did with Exorcist Believer. They're like, no, it was good. It was two girls that were possessed.
Oh, I was going to say, speaking of newer films, I saw it's not meant to be funny, but it was the funniest fucking teaser for Final Destination 6.
Yeah, I
Where it's
saw
like
that too.
The tattoo guy, it's like somehow his nose ring got on a ceiling fan, and he's like, was that meant to be serious?
It was ridiculous.
I haven't seen
It sounds like a Tom and Jerry episode.
It's a tattoo artist, and because of these complicated things, his nose ring gets stuck to a ceiling fan, and then he has to stand on a table, and then he kind of like get closer to the ceiling fan so it doesn't pull his nose ring off, and then a bunch of other BS happens. So you saw it, Mark?
Yeah, I did. I thought it was completely ridiculous. That's another thing. Like a lot of these franchise movies, especially with Final Destination, they don't even try. They go for the gimmick and that's it. There's no scares.
I think a lot of that audience is all they need. They know no movie's coming out.
That's true.
Like
yeah,
Scream or something, you know.
Man, that's as much as I put over horror earlier. The mainstream horror, like that shit, the Scream and the Halloween, and oh my god, that's really bad. Thankfully, there's more underground shit. You know, you get your substances, you get Long Legs, Rambo's favorite movie.
Oh yeah, I love it.
Titan. I love that movie.
Oh yeah,
Car.
Have you seen that one, Rambo? Have you reviewed that one? I can't.
I've
Rambo hated it.
The
I wasn't a fan either, but
the funny thing,
her vag turns to like car exhaust or something.
Yeah, she starts slowly turning into like chrome, and
She turns into like a sexual transformer.
It turns in. She disguises herself looking like Dario Argento.
More than meets the eye, indeed.
That director that's another female, right? Isn't that a female director?
Another French woman.
Jesus
They're
Christ.
crazy. Be crazy in bed. I'd be afraid to be in bed with a French lady.
Yeah, if you see that movie Raw as well, that's just right along the same lines.
Raw. I haven't seen Raw.
My God, folks.
Through hell, fire, and brimstone tonight here, folks.
She's eating her guts.
Good God Almighty.
It's the sickest night in WWE history.
Creator's asking about the popcorn bucket for the monkey. I don't know what the...
Okay, I am looking forward to that, the monkey.
I'm curious, yeah.
There was a movie from the 80s that ripped off that story and didn't give Stephen King credit, and it's the original monkey. It's called like The Devil's Hand or something. It's the story it's the exact same premise where it's basically Final Destination it's like a low budget movie, and I was always like a mark for it. It's not the greatest, but I thought it was fun as a kid. So the fact that they're doing now
that was that a short story?
Yeah.
Stephen King?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
There are some differences from it though. Like it's not all the same. But I mean, if you haven't read the short story, it's like nothing that's really going to bother anybody.
Right.
So
I think it's the gimmick, right? It's like the gimmick is really the thing.
Yeah. I mean, there's some different characters, some characters from the short story, but yeah, it's, it's fine. I wouldn't say it's an overall adaptation though.
You seen it?
Yeah, they did the sneak preview thing the other night. I liked it, but I mean, it's pretty gory. I think that people will probably be taken aback by it because they might be expecting something else. There's quite a few laughs in it, which I didn't expect. I liked it. I mean, I don't know how other people are going to feel about it, though. It's one of those movies where it's, what's the term? It's tongue in cheek. Put it that way.
I kind of got that vibe from the trailer a little bit. Like, just, so I was like,
yeah.
I'm definitely interested. If anything, it looks totally different from what he did with Long Legs, which was not tongue in cheek at all. Which is
no, it's nothing like Long Legs at all.
Oh, thank God.
But
did you get the popcorn bucket? Yeah, baby.
Fucking pop. What's the deal with pop? Like, how do you collect popcorn buckets?
I don't know.
You got to eat your popcorn out of something, CK. Come on.
Oh, goddamn. I'm not going to fucking like have 15 popcorn buckets lined up. Oh, which one should I choose? Get the Scream one here, the Terrifier one, Chucky one.
If you thought your Blu-rays took up space.
Well, Slimer. Hey guys, you like make popcorn for everybody. Everybody got it in their regular bowls. You got your fucking Slimer open. Just eat popcorn. Not ridiculous you would look.
I don't get it. But
does anyone have even one popcorn bucket?
I do.
No,
I have a
Tupperware
Ghostbusters one.
I do.
I got the very first one, the Scream one that they did.
I got that one.
I thought it was kind of cool. But after that,
that's enough.
Yeah.
Because it's kind of bulky too. The Scream one, it's kind of odd shape. You can't put it on shit.
Has like a lid thing that snaps off of it, so it's basically like almost like a display piece or whatever. But I mean, hell, like I can't keep buying this shit. Where am I going to put it?
Yeah, I don't know about every single one and having a whole room just for your buckets of popcorn.
You don't want a big xenomorph head that you can open up and eat popcorn out of?
It'll break your camera if the guy pays money.
What was the Dune one that got fucked by the alien one? Right? Didn't somebody make a video of that?
I can't wait for the.
the Dune one that looked vaginal, we'll say.
Yeah, it kind of looked like a fucking gaping asshole, kind of.
Yeah,
stretched out fleshlight. Yeah.
That's what. If they ever re-release Salo in theaters, they should do the Salo popcorn buckets where it's just some dude's
I don't think they're ever going to re-release Salo, unfortunately.
That'd be the greatest April Fool's Day prank ever. Just like say we have the secret screening, fill the theater up, and just start
Christmas Day screening of Salo. That'd be so killer.
It'd have to be one or two movies to troll the hell out of people. It'd have to be Salo or Cronenberg's Crash. Either one of those.
Now advertise like it's a Marvel film.
Yeah,
bring those people in. It's like Iron Man is back. Here's his ass.
Do you think there's ever going to be a time though where we don't have like 30 superhero movies a year?
Yes,
People aren't they getting sick of that shit by now?
Yeah.
I mean,
mm-hmm.
I'd say so.
And what's funny is that they could have realistically, had they had their head straight, kept going on right now where people would still be going to it and seeing it, but they destroyed their golden goose.
They got money
steadily over the year. Yeah. And not only just with the quality of the movies and the shows, but they started pumping these things out like 3 movies a year, 20 TV shows a year. And it's like, eventually people are going to be like, enough's enough.
That's the new age Disney way, man. Like they get a hold of it. I mean, look at Star Wars and all the other stuff they get. Anything they get, they do that.
They will only do it if they find a replacement for it. And I don't know what will replace it in terms of, even if it makes okay box office, if that's still a profit for them, then they don't want to replace that. So their mind is going to be what's going to replace, since they want these. They always want to gamble. They want these big box office, hopeful box office profit. They think that if they spend more, that means it's going to equal more money, especially foreign. So then the question is, what's going to replace these movies? And they're on their last legs because it's all gimmick now. Like it's desperation. Get Hugh Jackman back. get Robert Downey Jr. back. We're going to have, I don't know, Spider-Man and Wolverine together. Whatever the hell they're going to just mix and match and be desperation. Please come see our movie. Just want to sell you on a DMit, not because it's going to be a decent movie. But once you birth that all up, it's like anything. The wrestling, comic book industry, when it gets to the last race, it's just, what do we have to get a big rise on people of desperation?
Member berries.
Yeah, once you burn that out, what else do you have left? So,
and they spend all this money on these movies, and they all look like shit. They all look like bland, generic special effects. It's fucking like, what?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I don't get that.
It's just wild to me, and that really fucks with the whole movie business, because those big movies, the budgets keep ballooning and ballooning, and it trickles its way down where there's really no such thing as a mid-budget movie anymore.
Can you think though, like what point in time, like a year, when the quality of the movies just started to drop? And I think it was pretty quick, like in the early 2000s. It seemed like the quality was dropping quite a bit.
I think, like, I was going to say off the top of my head, like 2010, 2011, somewhere around there. Not that the 2000s were as good as the 90s and the 2000s, but I think I really do think that, laziness, they started remaking horror movies like in the late 2000s. And then that carried on to everything else. Like by the time the 2010s rolled around, it was like they were remaking and rebooting everything of every genre, because that's the easy thing to do. And then superhero movies. And it's just, there was, I mean, look at even thinking of movies in the early 2000s and compare them to now. Sadly, it's like, it's night and day difference. Comedy movies back then, even in the early 2000s, comedy movies were booming. You'd be hard pressed to find a good comedy anymore.
I can remember when I was like, and my dad would do this every summer. So like we would go and pick 4 or 5 movies we wanted to see in a nice theater in the city or whatever, and stay in the city for a weekend or whatever. And they were all pretty solid movies. Like this was like probably late 90s, early 2000s. All the ones that we decided to watch were pretty solid. You couldn't do that nowadays. Like how? No. Like I don't even know if there's that many different movies out in the theaters today.
Yeah, I mean, I did the same thing. Not exactly, but in the 90s for sure, it was like every weekend, like me and my cousins, we'd go out, and at that time it was like the theater that was connected to the mall. So I'd go in Suncoast, look at movies in there before the movie started, and then we'd go, and that was like an every weekend thing, and there was always something cool to go see. We don't have that now.
I've been going to the movies every weekend since I was 13 years old. And I don't know if I've just done it too much, but definitely within the past decade or so, there's just a lack of excitement there anymore. Like I go because I still want to see the movies or whatever, but I can't remember the last time I was really excited about one. Curious, intrigued, sure, but excited. It's been a minute.
Yeah, it's just that just goes back to that drop in quality I was talking about. Like it's just not there anymore. I don't think you burnt yourself out, man. I think it's just there's not anything to really be excited for. They fuck everything up most of the time.
Especially mentions on here, and this is true too. I mean, back then movies were events; they were something special, to go to, and like a lot of these studios would take a couple of years to get these movies made and produced and ready, and anymore they just crank this shit out as quick as possible. They try to market it well, and then they usually market it pretty well, but the end product is usually not very good.
That's the thing, man. Like it seemed like way back then, it was like it seemed like the movie would be forever before you'd see it, before it came out, right? I remember as a little kid wanting to see The Mummy, the Brendan Fraser Mummy. It seemed like an eternity. So by the time you got to the theater, it was an event, and it was all the movies, the big movies sold out. And it's just I wonder when that died, when they stopped becoming an event like altogether. Because at a certain period, it was just the Marvel movies were an event, and now those really aren't anymore. People don't give a
Something
shit.
else that happened too, I think, with the superhero movies is the big action movies back in the day were not all year round. Like they were like the summer blockbusters. There was only maybe two or three of them a year. And anymore, it's like a lot of this stuff is every weekend, every other weekend, there's some sort of new mainstream, whether it be like a superhero movie, a remake of some sorts.
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah, and
nothing special is too much.
that's definitely part of the problem. Like you say, CK, movies used to have seasons. You could expect certain types of movies to come out at a certain time of year. And another thing, it goes back to Mark. I think you said how a lot of the Marvel movies are just generic. I think the movies from the past decade, maybe decade and a half, do not have a feel to them anymore. Whereas if you look all the way back to any decade prior to the last 10 or 15 years, all those movies have a certain feel to them. And I don't know if that's because we're not shooting things on film anymore or where that comes from, but movies just don't have a feel or vibe to them. In general, some do, but en masse, there's just not a feeling to it at all.
I mean, so much of this stuff that comes out because they're just dumping out anything and everything to try to make money. Look at the studio system, man. Like I always blame them because it's got to go through them most of the time anyway. Very rarely do you have any guys that put something out and it's all their vision or all what they want to make. So much of this stuff is filtered through the studio system, and that's why everything seems the same. Everything has the same look. Like nothing feels original. That's just where we are. It's not going to go away. It's only going to get worse.
It's a shame, man. Like, just think of even in the early 2000s, even the comic book movies back then, I guess because they were relatively new, had like you said, a feel. They were events, and you could watch a Sam Raimi Spider-Man. You can watch another superhero movie, and it wouldn't feel like it was the same movie.
Something that I've thought about, and we mentioned it on a few shows over the years. So whenever they converted to all digital theaters, I think it changed some things too. Like, is the technology now too close to what you can actually just see if you've got a decent setup at home? Whereas, like, who wants to go to the trouble of, paying $10, $15 a ticket, gas, putting up with loud assholes in the theater?
That's really the main thing too. That is probably the leading issue, is that movies are just fucking expensive to go to now. Think about when you went to the movies as a kid, whether your parents took you, you went with your friends, all this. We did it all the time. But if you're a parent and you're taking your two kids to the movies, you're spending an arm and a leg between the tickets, between the overpriced food, the snacks and everything. Like a popcorn and a drink could cost you like $15 at the theater.
Oh,
so it's not like where it used to be, where you'd go. Of course, you go to the movie, you buy a cheap movie theater ticket, and all the seats are now, assigned seating. It's the movie theater chains. The movie theater chains.
Stupid. Fucking assigned seats.
It's ridiculous, and the theater chains, I think, are equally to blame as well, just because they got greedy. It's expensive to go to a movie. It really is. Nobody. Well, a parent will be like, I'll just wait 2 weeks till it's on streaming anyway. It'd be way less, you got popcorn at home. Yeah, I think they're equally to blame.
Yeah, I mean, I agree with all you guys. I think it's all of it. It's a lack of quality. And in a way, I know this sounds dumb, but like you mentioned, the 90s, early 2000s, even then we were not able to get our hands on movies as easily as today, where there's so many streaming sites, the improvements of the internet, that almost in a weird way, we as a society is almost desensitized to movies because their options are everywhere. So many streaming sites, legal maybe not legal, whatever you want, YouTube, even just YouTube itself. Like, I watch YouTube more than cable. I don't know if anyone watches cable. And they say, like, you have all this entertainment right there, and it's like right there you can watch it. That's better than some of these movies coming out. And when you have all those options, you have those opportunities, you have those other sources, you don't have to rely so much on movies. And then also, we're in an age of lack of talent. Like, there's not a lot of people nowadays that grew up that have a lot of talent in terms of these new people. I looked like yeah, go ahead.
Each generation too. Think of the new generation of filmmakers. They're probably going to be worse and worse because they're going to be influenced by
TikTok.
Some of these, or some of these modern guys too, like Fede Alvarez or something.
Oh God,
Masterclass.
My favorite Rambo quote. He said, I forget, it might have been on a Friday Night Lives where he was ranting about modern filmmakers that try to be too clever and out clever themselves, and he said something like they inadvertently all become Vince Russo, where it's swerve.
Oh,
right.
Because it's like it seems like there's people now that make movies that are like, what can we do that's different? And they end up writing themselves into a bunch of bullshit.
David Gordon Green,
Ari Aster to an extent. David Gordon Green's probably the main one. He's like, I got to do a trilogy. How about we make like 3 completely different movies that have no continuity between them?
He did. That's what he was going to do the same thing with the Exorcist movies, but they wouldn't. They kind of kicked him out.
That big plan.
I mean, I don't think it's going to be any good, but if there's any hope of that being good, they picked the right guy to do it, Flanagan. So
I think he might actually be able to give us something decent. Like, if anybody can at least deliver something half decent, maybe he can do it.
He loves Exorcist 3. He loves Exorcist 3, and he said something like he's going to do something totally different. So if he gives us something more in line with Exorcist 3 than just trying to repeat the first movie over and over again, I'm cool with that.
I hope that he keeps Henry Thomas off of this movie, though. He needs to separate himself from. I have nothing against Henry Thomas, but he does that.
Yeah.
Not
nearly. I know the. I think you and I pretty much watched the same video with a guy that said that Dr. Sleep was a better movie than The Shining. It was like a live stream. And I nearly fell out my chair. I was like, no, I can't.
I was going to be like some of those assholes that are in their chat. I'm unsubscribing right now. Fuck you. You're all stupid.
I don't think that's a terrible movie. I like it okay, but better than The Shining. Are you kidding me?
I think had anyone else directed it, it would have been fucking terrible. Yeah. He was the only reason it was as good as it was.
Yeah. No, he's a good director.
But I mean, there was I mean, it was okay. But yeah. Anyway, you guys got anything else you wanted to mention on here? There's a couple things that I had, but nothing too pressing.
I had a quick I just had a quick question for Wes. I know it seems random, but bear with me. Is Mount Washington, Kentucky near you?
I don't think so. I think that's like maybe Western Kentucky.
Oh, okay.
We're in southeastern Kentucky.
No, because I just saw a movie the other day called Compliance, which is about the 2004 incident with the phone call scammer that called the McDonald's and got the manager to get a coworker to undress and do all this other stuff to her because the guy pretended he was a cop.
Let me ask, hey, Sarah, where is Mount Washington, Kentucky? Do you know?
Mount Washington?
Yeah. I think it's Western Kentucky.
It's Western Kentucky. I've never really heard of Mount Washington.
I've heard of it, but I think...
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, I don't think it's anywhere near us, though.
Okay, it was just an interesting incident I didn't even know about. But apparently this guy, like over 70 fast food places, McDonald's and stuff, he would pretend to be a cop and tell the manager,
make people to do like sexual things or something like
well,
that.
yeah, your worker stole this person. You need to
we
hold
saw that
them.
documentary. There's a documentary on that, right? Is that what you're talking
Mhm.
about?
No, I saw a movie, but there might have been a documentary as well.
That guy, it was either that guy or it was somebody else, because I think it was a website, did the same thing to a Wendy's close by me. And
okay.
they were able to catch a guy. He made him turn on the fire repellent, which is foam, I guess, for grease. And the foam came out, and he said it was like a deadly chemical, and to go outside and take the bricks out of the garden and bust the windows. And he was like acting like he was a CEO or whatever, or health or whatever. And there just so happened to be a cop at a red light. And the audio, I think, still on YouTube. And I just looked over, and he sees these workers just tearing down a Wendy's windows.
There's a documentary, man. It's one that was on like Netflix or something. I can't remember the name of it, but I think it's about the same guy.
I think it was like a website where there was maybe a few guys that would do that, record it, put it on the website, and eventually they got caught.
Because the movie I saw, it was Compliance. The event was, again, it was a McDonald's in Mount Washington, Kentucky, and the guy pretending he was a cop called the manager and said, hey, your worker stole some money from a customer. You need to hold them, and talked another guy to stay in there with the woman and actually got her to do oral on the guy and all this other stuff.
It was like an old man or something like that.
Something like that, yeah.
Yeah, it's
Jesus Christ.
Yeah, it's the same guy, yeah. But I can't recall.
I never knew about that.
Anybody know the name of that documentary? But yeah, I did. I think it was on Netflix or something. We watch all that true crime shit, but there's so much of it I can't remember any of the names.
Yeah.
I mean, it's true, but it's just sad just how many people just with the threat of authority will just do anything just for the fear of authority.
Have you ever seen the Eric C. Khan documentary yet? The Big Con or whatever it's called?
No, I've been meaning to check it out, but that's one of those deals where it like hits so close to home. Like, I don't know, kind of weird watching it.
I remember when that shit hit the fan. I think the show, it was either when you guys took a break or right around the time. And you guys were doing
we weren't doing the show. I don't think when it came out. Yeah,
dude, I remember it was a Sunday after football, and I was making dinner, and 60 Minutes was on, and they're like Eric C. Khan, and I'm like, you got to be kidding me! I had no idea that he. I'm like, the dude from DEADPIT is on 60 Minutes. Like he would flee to Honduras to get away from the authorities. It's crazy, and you guys were calling it 2 years before. You guys were like, this dude's.
No shit.
And it became the biggest social security scam in American history.
He loved the fact that we talked about him and laughed at because we showed the billboards with the 1-800 number and everything in the videos. And he left us, I think I put it on Patreon, a voicemail one time, and it's him. And he wanted us to call. We never did get a hold of him. I was like, fuck, let's get into some of that money, man. Maybe he'll sponsor us or something, right? And we met him. I met him at Scarefest one year. He was
great.
Walking around with one of his Filipino wives that he had at the time and had this like leather fucking suit on. He looked like somebody from the fucking like Goodfellas or something. No, it's like almost like a gangster like blazer sort of.
Oh my god!
Deal. And he shook my hand and had a $20 bill in it, and I was like, "That's the first time that's ever happened."
Are you serious?
Like you see shit like that in a movie, but yes, $20 bill.
Dude, you can't make that up.
And I took a picture. The picture is up. I think it's on Facebook or something.
Dude.
Total Goodfellas move there.
Yeah.
It was
forget to buy.
It was a meme on the show. It was a meme on the show, and then it turned out like he did it, and it was like the biggest scam in U.S. It's got its own Wikipedia page. The scam. Oh my god!
And he, after he initially got arrested and released, he fled. And it was, a good 4 or 5 months or so.
Yeah, he was in Honduras.
Yeah, at a Pizza Hut. He got arrested at a Pizza Hut in Honduras.
He had a plate full of breadsticks at the pizza bar.
Predminator with a $4.99 super chat. Thank you, sir. You guys ever seen the YouTuber Youth Man videos? He does amazing home theater tours. Awesome content. Cool.
I'll have to check that out.
I'll see some of those TikToks of people's home theater setups, and I'm like, God damn! Like some people that have a lot of money have
That
like
stuff can
great
get
setups.
crazy expensive,
Yeah.
man. Like I remember Pop from Pop's Movie Dungeon on YouTube.
Mm-hmm.
I was like, man, because I never did. I've still got just a regular sound bar in there. But I was wanting to get the Atmos set up, and I know that he was pretty picky about his setup and stuff. And he gave me like all the stuff. Like here's what I've got. Right, it added up to be over $5,000 worth of just speaker stuff. And I was like, yeah, fuck, I ain't gonna be fucking getting that. Right, Sonos speakers and all that.
Yeah.
And then the TVs are pretty expensive nowadays too. If you want like the OLED TVs are the big ones.
Yeah.
Yeah.
$3,000 or $4,000 a piece.
Yeah, that's about right.
So what is the big difference between like 4K LED and then the 4K OLED? What is so superior about the OLED setup?
So the pixels in it are organic and they're self-illuminating. So you get the top quality that you could possibly get like from a home TV setup. I think the LED, like they're backlit by like LED lights, and that shines through to give you like a certain amount of what they call nits, that stands for peak brightness in your TV. But for my money, I always go with OLED just because I like that as the better technology.
I mean, if you see them side by side in the store, there's definitely a notice in the quality.
Yeah.
I know the blacks because the parts on the TV that the blacks are off, right? The TV are off
in the OLED, yeah.
The OLED.
The pixels they just completely deluminate. And I mean, that's how so if you want more brightness, basically what happens is that like I think it's like the photons or whatever, like it gives it more of a static charge, the electricity of it. Like, no. Anyway, it just makes it brighter, and each new model for like the OLEDs. So if you're on like the C series for LG, like model wise, the higher you go up, like C3, C4, it's mostly just peak brightness. That's all you're really getting. The user interface might be a little bit faster, but so far with those, that's kind of like the main thing is just like peak brightness. Same thing with the G series, which is a little bit better. I would say it's the B series, the C series, and then the G series is the top, but those are super expensive. The C series is kind of like the sweet spot.
Mark, man, you should sell TVs for Best Buy. You know more about this shit than anybody I know.
I actually went in there when a couple was trying to decide on an OLED LG, and the guy was like struggling to like explain everything. So I like took over, and I was like, well, he walked away because they were like still trying to decide while he was struggling. So he walks away, and then I started telling them about the TVs, and I'm like, hey, you should get this one, or depends on what you want, maybe get that one.
Sure, got a damn commission.
Yeah, I mean, the guy who came back, what I wanted was only in the back, and he gave me a free one. It was like a
free
no static wipe thing for like the TV to clean the screen. They had sold out of the ones like were on the rack, and he came back and gave me the one in the back for free. So I was like, hey, cool.
Damn, that would be a weekly thing. You just go in, you just help random person. Okay, get free now.
You got him out of that, so he appreciated that.
What picture setting do you guys keep on your TV? Like standard, movie, vivid, you know what I mean?
I use the movie setting. I know on my TV in here I have a Samsung Tizen, I think it is, and the mode on there, they all have their own names depending on the brand, right? So the mode I use on there is filmmaker mode, generally.
What's the difference between the filmmaker mode and the movie mode? Do y'all know?
I don't have like a fancy setup or anything, but off the top of my head, I think filmmaker mode is just a little darker, probably maybe a little closer to what you might get in a theater. And of course, your frame rates are going to be correct for watching a movie. Whereas,
Exactly.
some people get these TVs and just leave them on the default setting,
That's
and
the
the frame
worst.
rates are not going to match up at all. And it drives me crazy.
It looks too smooth.
Yeah. I pointed it out to people and they'll say, Ben, what are you talking about? Can you really not see that? Can you not see that those frames are moving too fast
Yeah.
for what this is? And some people, I guess, can't because they just don't react to it.
Yeah, a lot of them come standard like that, I think,
Mhm.
anymore.
Yeah.
I keep mine on movie. But I guess I'll try to see the differences with filmmaker. I have one outside too, and that one you have to keep on the
You could
vivid.
go on a lot of models on TVs if you want to really like get down into it. I think like there's forums and even some YouTube pages that have like a
Mhm.
you can go step by step and go through it in every little setting and set it the right way according to the
Yeah.
interface.
There's a ton of settings on TVs now, especially on the OLEDs. You got AI stuff on there. I mean, it's a million different things. But yeah, 1,000-meter films. You're totally right about the filmmaker mode. It's darker. It's a lot closer to what you would get like for an actual movie. I guess theatrically speaking, the judder is off, so there's no smoothing out of the image or anything. I don't know if it's like this for you guys and your TVs, but like when I go on like Netflix, it'll switch the mode, or if I watch something on Amazon Prime, it'll switch to filmmaker mode or standard mode or whatever they set the content to, which I kind of hate because I have my own preset thing that I made that I like. So I don't
You
know.
mentioned Netflix though, Mark. I did get a VPN for Netflix Canada, so
Nice.
So I'm wondering, like, I need to look up what other shit I can get on there because I canceled Peacock. I can get all the live pay-per-views and everything on Netflix, but there's bound to be other like stuff that's exclusive on like international Netflix. I need to look into that. But it's really freaking easy, really easy
Mm-hmm.
to get it if anybody's interested.
And you didn't have to create a new account or anything like that. You just put the VPN on and that's it.
Yeah, just connect to whatever server, which I used Canada, and
And what's the difference between a regular?
well, the wrestling stuff's why I wanted it, just because I'm just paying $7.99 a month or whatever just for the WWE shit.
Sort of pay-per-views on Netflix in Canada?
Yeah,
Okay.
everything
Okay.
is the
Okay.
NXT is on there, SmackDown, Raw, and I think they have different in each country. They have like you could connect to like Britain or whatever, and there would be different stuff, different.
Everybody
content on
starts
there.
speaking British.
I just don't
Every
know
show.
what. I don't know what it is. It looks identical though, like the interface and everything's exactly the same, but it just pops up different stuff.
Every show you watch and every movie you watch, everybody's speaking with a British accent, even
There you
American
go.
ones. Yeah,
It's yeah,
British
they got
mode.
the British commentators on Raw.
Yeah, yeah. Oh,
It'd
yeah,
be
you
better
good.
than Pat McAfee, that's for sure.
Yeah, he's a little bit over the top sometimes.
Just a tad,
I know
Yeah.
Corey Graves isn't a fan.
Who?
Corey Graves, they kicked him off of.
Okay.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah, but he sucked as a commentator
had a little
too.
bitch fit. Yeah,
He wasn't great anyway. I haven't watched the product in a while, but he wasn't. He was one of those commentators, especially during the late Vince era, where it was just like 30-second pauses while moves are happening in the ring, and there's like dead silence.
Bring
I
back
thought he got.
Because Vince
Matt Striker.
is yelling at him on their headphones.
That's what I was going to say. I
Yeah.
think he got a little better after Vince left. I liked him even more. Well, I liked everybody more after Vince was gone. I mean, but that's a given.
Did you guys see a picture of Vince at the Super Bowl?
yeah. He
Yeah.
looked like old school Vince.
Yeah,
Good.
Yeah, he doesn't look like evil Walt Disney anymore.
I think like at least he thinks that he's off the hook now or whatever. So like he's kind of like more relaxed. It seems like maybe.
Like that was his disguise. They'll
Yeah,
never recognize me with this gold medal.
What is he doing, man? That guy? Because that guy, notorious workaholic, work. You know, made other people work constantly. Like, what is he doing now? That like, what is his day? Does he go in his room and play with action figures, his wrestling figures? Like,
well, he don't have figures. He has the dildos.
That's
the wrestlers. He's playing with a big show.
Ah, damn, pal. Here's Mark Henry.
Or he's junking competition for Mark. You know, there's other options for him.
Well, the rumor is he's starting some other kind of entertainment company, but nobody knows exactly what it is.
Oh my god.
Who's gonna bankroll that dude at this point, though? Like, who's gonna put any partner
Unless
up
he
with him
puts
for
his own
anything?
money into it. I mean, he did cash out. What was it, over $2 billion or whatever?
Mm-hmm.
So,
In all seriousness, not to excuse any of his actions, but a serious question: how much brain damage do you think he has? Because he was taking some fucking wicked chair shots at 50+ years old in the 90s.
I think he has
Attitude
a
Era.
lot of.
I'm watching it now, and I'm like, holy shit, dude.
yeah, a lot of people did around that era. I don't know. I think that he had issues though, even before that. Like it was something kind of off with him.
It's been hinted at some bad abusive childhood. I think in an interview he said, which would make sense to.
I remember him saying that. Yeah, that's right.
Well, in the Mr. McMahon documentary, they pretty much say that. Like they say that his childhood was not good.
He grew up in a trailer park or something, right?
Yeah.
His dad was abusive.
One other thing that I wanted to mention, though, and a lot of people were talking about, kind of a hot topic online, is the Monroeville Mall, the future of the mall, since Walmart purchased it. Do you guys, a lot of people are hoping, oh, well, they can open up shop and everything, and some of the mall could survive. And I'm thinking, are you fucking, no.
There's no chance in hell.
Walmart. It's Walmart.
Yeah. It's going to be a parking lot.
They're leveling the fucking mall. I'm sorry. I don't want it to happen. It's sad, but that's what they're doing. There's not a Walmart in Monroeville until now,
It's
like
done.
in a year or two.
And they own the land around, do they?
Yeah.
So they could take it down, build a Walmart, and then hey, if McDonald's or other places you want to build
Right.
over there or build over there, create a little.
Right. Yeah. So like most Walmarts you see, there's little shops and stuff around or whatever. And I'm sure that it'll be something like that.
It'd be like a little strip mall of like, Five
Cigarettes,
Guys.
vape
The good
store or
news-
something.
The good news for fans, though, is you still have this year. If you want to go, here's your chance.
It's the last time, I believe.
Yeah.
I'm
But-
on the fence about doing it. I live in North Carolina, so it would be a real haul to go there. And I'm not really in a financial position where it's just like, okay, let's travel a few states away and
Right.
do a whole weekend.
Right.
But I mean, if this is going to close for real and be taken down, which it will, because Walmart has it, like you said, it's tempting. Now, CK, I know you've gone to that convention and the mall and whatnot.
Mhm.
Is it worth taking that trip and spending a little bit of money that you didn't necessarily plan on spending?
I
do
mean,
something
I
like that?
think so. I enjoyed it. The mall, in my opinion, I mean, on the outside, it looks almost exactly the same, especially when you're coming up the hill and going towards the mall. And then the cemetery from Night of the Living Dead is pretty much identical from the movie. There's the Creep Show house. There's tons of other locations that I didn't get to go to.
Is the airport still around? That little where in Dawn of the Dead,
It
the helicopter.
was until I think they tore that little building down like a year before or something. And the weird thing is it was like right up the street from the Creep Show house. It's like within walking distance.
Wow.
Yeah, like
Nice.
100 feet or something.
You said the Creep Show House, they're pretty cool with letting people take pictures and
Yeah, they had the jack-o'-lantern in the window, and they had like a prop trash can out there with the magazine or the comic or whatever. So you could just hold the comic up and take a photo or whatever. But the convention's pretty cool too. It's like an old school, hotel convention. There's not too many of those
nice.
left anymore.
No, everything's by big convention centers.
But yeah,
Yeah,
I
they
mean,
do Mad Monster here. That's still a hotel convention, but that's about it.
yeah. The mall, you can tell, like they keep the mall up. I think it doesn't look run down or anything, but there was a lot of empty stores in it. I did notice that.
So is someone
Hey.
doing a tour during that? A tour going through?
Yeah, they do a couple of different tours over that. I think Lawrence DeVincent's the guy's name. He posts on the Facebook from time to time. He's kind of like an expert on the mall.
So he
in
does the
particular,
tour?
Dawn of the Dead. Yeah.
Okay.
They do like 2 or 3 over the course of that weekend at
Hmm.
the mall. I think Uncle Bill bought tickets to the Saturday one, so he's definitely going to that one.
And when is this?
It's in June. I think it's the
June.
first weekend in June.
Hmm.
It's like a 3-hour tour, though, man.
It's crazy.
Fuck, I don't know.
Like Gilligan's Island.
Yeah.
I mean,
what
that's got to
happened to
be one of the few holy grail sites of horror. What's another spot like that I
The-
guess people actually visit?
South Pasadena, the Myers house is probably one.
Yeah.
I don't know if you can get in it, though. I don't know if there's tours. of
Texas
it.
Chainsaw gas station. That's a bed and break, like a, I guess a little hotel now.
The Stanley Hotel, that would be kind of
Yeah.
one that,
Yeah.
there's not many, though.
The
Even though it's-
the Elm Street house, isn't that one still around?
Yeah, I've seen that
Yeah.
one.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
as far as actually, like, I don't know if there's anything else where you can actually publicly go in and visit, like, and walk around and see the sites and all that. Most of these are like private residences at this point.
The Black Christmas house I know still exists and looks identical on the outside, but it's like private property. I seen a Sean Clark video recently where that looks, but
Nice.
The Texas Chainsaw House, the original one, yeah, it's still up. They moved it
mhm.
probably like 30 years ago or whatever.
Yeah.
It's in
It-
Kingsland, Texas. I think it was a restaurant. I don't know if it's still in.
I think
in
it still
business.
is. Yeah.
Yeah.
The gas station is in the exact same spot still, and they
There's
made it a Texas Chainsaw themed, like a little, you could stay, I guess, like a, I don't know what you would call it. You can rent a room for the night, and there's the van and
on
big gift
YouTube.
shop.
There's video footage of the Chainsaw House before they moved it. I think it was like in the early 90s.
Was it the Gunnar Hansen who was doing the
Yeah.
tour? Like,
And I saw it. I was like, God damn it, boys. I would have fucking flipped out if I'd got to visit that. Because it looked exactly like when they shot it in,
Yeah.
in the 70s. And even the inside, like, it was run down. I guess anybody could have just, it was almost like a hobo house or something that people would, homeless people would live in or whatever. But, like,
What's-
yeah, the wallpaper, a lot of that stuff was the
Yeah.
same.
Well, it's now a restaurant. Now, the door to the kitchen is the door that Leatherface slams after he bludgeons
Yeah.
Kurt.
That pocket door.
Yeah, I mean it's not the same, but it's the same frame to that room, so that's pretty
There's,
cool. It's cool that that's still around and it's in way better condition than it was when that Gunnar Hansen video was made, because it looked like somewhere that should be
Yeah, it wouldn't have
condemned, and then-
survived.
No.
Yeah, much longer with that, but it was still on the same location and everything, and they had shots from the outside of it. It
Oh,
was insane.
I know the Exorcist steps in Georgetown. That's I guess another one. I guess a horror landmark. And that one's actually they can't even get rid of those steps if they wanted to. It's like it's a registered landmark in the city, historical site.
Yeah. And then the little town in what town is it in New Jersey? where they shot the first couple Friday the 13th movies. That's still there. Is it Blairstown or something like that in New Jersey?
That sounds right.
And it still looks pretty much the same. It's like a little small.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We the town, I forget the name, the Blob remake is still identical to that movie. It's it's a town in the middle of like northern Louisiana. That looks pretty much identical. The town square and everything's still the same. The football stadium by the cemetery. It's one of those towns that it's really, they don't, stuff's not changing. The way, architecture and everything like that. So it's
We
pretty cool that
interviewed
that's there.
David Gregory a few weeks ago, and that guy's done so much. Like, he did one of the very early Texas Chainsaw documentaries. He did a lot of early stuff for Anchor Bay and Blue Underground and all those companies. One of the things that I think that he did was, and I don't know if you guys might not all be familiar with Living Dead at Manchester Morgue or Let Sleeping Corpses Lie or whatever. It's a British zombie movie.
Underrated.
And I still think it's underrated to this day. But he did like a locations of the, where they had shot the movie and the British countryside and all that. Exactly the same. Looked exactly the same. I was like, holy shit. And this
that's
was
what,
like 73 or 74 is when that movie was made.
and that's what kind of makes that movie is like the setting and the location. Like it's very unique for a zombie movie, and like the British countryside with those nice big houses with the gigantic lawns, and that was before the Italian zombie movies, right? It was kind of like a precursor to what Fulci would end up doing.
It was
and all
before
those
Dawn of the
guys.
Dead even. It's just like,
Yeah.
I'm thinking 74. It's like one of the early, I think it was one of the early movies too where they used like pig intestines or whatever for the guts in a couple scenes. So, yeah, it's a damn good one if anybody out there hasn't seen that one. So, but you guys got anything else? Throw it out there.
Who is waiting to see what we're going to get for the Nightmare on Elm Street box set in the U.S., or have you just already decided? Are you going to pull the trigger on that Steelbook? What you thinking?
It's $300 for the Steelbook box. Or that's what I've heard.
250, 300, something. It's a lot. It's a lot of money.
I've already said if they use that same artwork that they made the Blu-ray set in, I'm not getting it. I'm not.
No,
I don't care what the contents are on it. They can kiss my ass.
They can't
That's the
charge that
shittiest-
much for that art cover. Like that would be horrendous.
Well, they used it as the temporary art though. That's the scary thing.
They can get their head out their ass. Like,
Dude.
I feel like
say what you want about those movies. The poster art for all those movies are really good, even the shitty ones. Like, what are they doing?
maybe I'm being too optimistic, but I don't feel like they're going to use that Blu-ray cover art again.
They better
I
not,
don't think we have to
'cause
worry.
that'll be
about
the
that.
nail in the coffin. I mean, I'm not getting it. I will not buy that shit again.
I wouldn't either.
Every time I pick that, like if we're doing a commentary or something like that, I pick that damn thing up. I'm like, fucking.
I love the franchise, but it's not worth $300. I just can't. That's just too much. For
So
movies.
it has been confirmed. It's around 300.
That was the rumor. I mean, I don't know. Maybe they
I
just.
think the price I saw was 250, but I mean, still, that's a lot of money for a set.
Man, for that much money, you can buy a fake little plastic chainsaw from Dark Sky Films.
I think it may be one of those deals
Yeah,
too.
Tom
where
Atkins figure.
By the time it actually comes out, it's maybe $200, right? Amazon or something.
Yeah.
I don't know. And maybe there's a standard version that'll come out at some point that'll be a bit cheaper. Like the Trick or Treats edition, I actually got that in the standard that I think's coming out here in about a month or so or whatever. And I know a lot of people's been waiting on that, and they kind of hurried that up because Felcher's all about rolling in that fucking cash. He can get his pussy a hammock in every room in the house.
Is the Nightmare on Elm Street 4K, is the transfer good on anybody?
I
when it came out?
I think it is. Yeah.
Yeah, I would say
Okay.
so. I loved it.
I was not going to get it, and I kept hearing people talk about it, and it was like, wow. I mean, they really went all out with it, and yeah. So I was like, ah, fuck it.
I got the Terminator because people kept saying how good it looked. I was, hesitant because anything James Cameron
I've got that
does,
too, but I haven't watched it yet.
I've not seen it on the 4K disc itself, but I did see it projected at a theater in a 4K restoration, and it was gorgeous.
Yeah, they say it's easily the best of the James Cameron transfers, without question.
He must have not had anything to do with it.
Yeah, he must have been sleeping.
I'm going to be in the minority on this one, but I didn't think True Lies was that bad. I didn't think the transfer was that bad.
I just saw screenshots of it. I haven't seen it, so
I thought it was. I didn't think it was quite as bad as Terminator 2, but it looked a lot. Very
I thought
plasticky.
the Aliens one actually looked really good, but like Rambo's a gigantic fan of that movie, so they did make that movie kind of look modern.
Yeah.
And how they scrubbed it or whatever the hell they did, because it does not look like a film. It actually looks like one of these new digital movies or something.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I get it, but I just think it looks better the way it was. Just the color scheme and stuff.
I think
the color scheme.
I think the first Alien is probably one of the better 4Ks to ever be released. That's gorgeous in 4K.
I haven't heard anything about the 7 4K. Mark,
I got it. I bought it, but I haven't watched it yet. I heard.
Same. Haven't watched it yet.
I saw it re-released in a theater recently, but I'm probably not going to buy the disc.
I'm a big fan of that movie, but that's not really a movie you rewatch very much, or at least for me.
It's not a feel-good movie.
No. Well, I mean, I do enjoy the end of it. I mean, I'm not a big Gwyneth Paltrow fan, so.
That's why you like it.
Yeah.
It still amazes me. That might have to be the greatest bounce back in movie history, that David Fincher salvaged his career after Alien 3 by following it up with 7. Like, I mean, you want to talk about being in a bad spot coming off Alien 3. And then,
I got a feeling, though, Alien 3 wasn't entirely his fault.
No.
I think that was just
it was
like a studio-wide fuck up.
It was.
Yeah, the original Alien DVDs, each one had a documentary. And the first Alien was this incredible story of teamwork, how it all came together. The second Aliens documentary was about James Cameron versus the crew and how they had to get over each other's egos to make this masterpiece. And then the third Alien documentary was about how this thing just went horribly wrong from the get-go, and that everybody was in over their head and there was too many cooks in the kitchen. And there's a scene where you see David Fincher just looking miserable, and he grabs the boom mic and he goes, 20th Century Fox are idiots.
Did Alien 3 make a lot of money when it came out, or no?
I think it did.
Okay. Because it seemed like it did. Like there was a video game for it. There was a lot of publicity for it and all that. And then they made the fourth one pretty quick after that too, I think, right?
Resurrection was 97, Alien 3 with 92. So yeah, just a few years.
Yeah.
Yeah, it wasn't they didn't make a whole lot of money in the US. And the thing is that they had to go back for additional photography. So that upped the budget even more so. And it definitely made less than the second one, so it's definitely deemed a disappointment. But they put a lot of hype for it because the second one was such a huge crowd pleaser, so that's why you had so many video games and stuff. A lot of hype, but
to all that hype for a boring fucking movie, like it's watching paint dry. I prefer Resurrection, and Resurrection's not a great movie, but at least it's somewhat entertaining. 3 that's ambient, man.
We watched that again for some reason.
It was a sequel. It was a sequelitis.
Oh, okay.
It was Alien 3 and I Spit on Your Grave, Deja Vu.
Oh God, that was Alien 3. Those are actually like I Spit on Your Grave, Deja Vu is like one of those movies that is long. Like it's like 2.5 hours long.
Yeah, it's 2.5 hours.
It feels like 8 hours. Like that's. And Alien 3 is almost the same way.
I still think Alien 3 is better than Romulus. So.
It was a better made movie.
I mean,
It's a
I
better
don't like
made
either
movie.
one, so I don't like either one, so I don't care.
That's like asking if you'd rather like gargle piss or diarrhea or whatever.
Yeah, I'd say it's a better
Yeah.
made movie for sure. I mean, you know, David Fincher turned out to be a pretty damn good director. It's just, I mean, you might as well get your worst movie out with your first one.
I just think that the Alien versus Predator movies just soured me on both those franchises. That I just never want to watch another one of those movies.
Oh, it's fucking stupid. They had the Predators were built like they looked like Dave Bautista running around or Brock Lesnar. They made them all big and beefy, and it was so fucking stupid.
I got what was the second one called? Was it
Requiem?
Okay.
The one where you can't see anything,
right? But I didn't know anything about it. I got the Blu-ray. It was like an early Blu-ray screener that they sent or whatever. I was excited. I was like, hell yeah, I got a fucking free Blu-ray. And I started watching. And I was like, God damn, boys, I can't see anything in this. What the hell's going on? And I was like, is my player fucked up or something?
And to think that was done by design, that was their whole thing.
I was just about to ask, what was the story behind that?
They did that on purpose. Like there was some disagreements between like DP, director, and like the lighting guy, and then like all parties kind of clashed, and then it ended up looking like what it looks like. But it was supposed to be like that. It was supposed to be a lot darker.
Oh my god, a lot, even more darker than.
Yeah, pretty much. Yeah,
God.
it was supposed. It looked. I mean, you could barely see what's going on, no matter.
You need to
what
watch that on
setting
an
you use.
OLED, Mark.
No, it doesn't matter. I've watched it on an OLED. It doesn't matter. It's still really hard to see.
I would assume the directors, I don't think, did anything much before or after that. That they were probably fighting with the cinematographer, who was probably like, "God, you're not gonna see anything." Yep. And they were like, "Oh wow." Could you imagine paying money to go see that in a theater and then just being like, what the fuck?
Maybe they give you like night vision goggles instead of 3D goggles.
That was a pretty quick sequel from the first one too, right? If I'm not mistaken. Like that was like a year or two later, maybe.
Yeah, that really did kill the franchise. I mean, the franchise was Alien franchise
was the first
2004.
2007 I think was the second. 2007.
Well, they really fucked themselves because anybody that was excited to go see that was deflated when they found out it was PG-13. Like, let's take two R-rated franchises and make it a PG-13.
Well, Requiem was rated R, which is ironic considering you can't see anything in the movie.
Yeah, exactly.
They didn't even need to rate it R, but
that was the thing too. The sequel, they were like, we're going to make it more gory and more R-rated. We heard your complaints, and then you can't even see anything. So
you got more breeding, got more women pregnant.
Look, I'm of the opinion there's only been 2 good Alien movies and 2 good Predator movies, and that's about it.
That's all you need, yeah.
And they were first 2 of both franchises. So.
You know, like the
films.
Yeah,
go ahead. Sorry.
I was just going to say, Car, you didn't like the girl who's 80 pounds doing parkour as a Native American? Because
what really made me
shit.
What really made me fall out of the chair was this PR stunt that Fox did, where they had fucking Bill Duke and Jesse Ventura tweet compliments out of the blue. What a kick-ass job! And I'm like, there ain't no fucking way. When has Bill Duke and Jesse Ventura ever picked up their phone to tweet anything, much less on the day that it came out?
You know, fucking Jesse Ventura's not going to watch that fucking movie anyway.
Yeah.
I didn't know they did that.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. And it was like, it was like the exact same tweet.
Did you guys ever see Jesse Ventura's interview with Theo Vaughn on his podcast?
Oh,
yeah.
Theo Vaughn was getting aggravated. You could tell.
He never stops talking.
Yeah.
You know, though, like Jesse Ventura's voice, I'm surprised that people haven't tried to hire him to do like commercials and voiceovers and stuff like that. He has such a unique, like strong, like voice. And immediately I think of like Saturday Night's Main Event every time I hear his voice.
He came back for it.
Yeah. Well, kind of. You can tell like he didn't watch his shit anymore. They were like trying to help him as much as possible to sound like he knows what he's talking about. But
yeah, he kept trying to put over those facts about Sheamus, and I'm like, dude, you probably haven't watched wrestling since you were wrestling.
You guys remember when he had that true TV show where he was like following leads on conspiracy theories, where he's like, I just got a call about the thermite paint on 9/11. It was like, damn, dude, you really.
That wasn't too
falling on hard times.
Was it?
That was I think it was early 2010s where he was like they set up it where he was like secret meetings where they'd park a car next to each other and a guy would get out like looking like making sure nobody was watching him. It was the goofiest shit ever. And then at some point, you start out, you know, on 9/11, JFK, all the big ones. But as the seasons went on, there was less conspiracy theories to talk about. So we started getting into like chupacabra and shit like that.
I saw that the other day that, and I watch these when there's really nothing else on because the show's not very good. The Unsolved Mysteries, the new Netflix version of it,
Mm-hmm.
and they did like a big update on the Roswell thing. What do you guys think about that?
Yeah,
What they say.
I mean, they're kind of like a lot of the people that were alive. I mean, they're all dead, so they're kind of talking to either their children or their grandchildren in it, and they're showing clips of the Roswell report. I think from like the late '90s, and it's an update on it. And they were going back and forth with, I think it was 1989 episode with Robert Stack, and he was kind of back in the episode. It was actually of the new Netflix version. It's one of the better episodes that they ever did.
I always said it was something more to that story, just because
There's definitely something else.
Yeah,
Mm.
the multiple people saying that there were bodies. You know, even people that there were some people that weren't like outright saying, "Oh, I saw aliens," but there were people like, you know, there was bodies on the ground.
I thought that was interesting though, as a part of that report, is they had the government had stated that those were crash test dummies, the bodies. I'm like, what?
And then they said
no
it was
sense.
And then they said it was a weather balloon afterwards. Which why would there be
Right,
crash test
right.
dummies? So yeah,
So they pretty much admitted that there were bodies of some sort, but they're saying,
Yeah.
oh, you know, there's these dummies in 1947. I can't believe that.
my thing is like so many people over the years, especially way back, even before the internet, explain like a lot of shit that sounds similar. Like they'll see something, no sound, that it'll zip off. It's like there's like, in a way, there's like common weird things that you wouldn't associate with it. That's really not even associated in movies and media at the time. That it, you know, it's this quiet thing that zips off. And there was a down about an hour from here, there was a famous abduction case that I think was on the original Unsolved Mysteries. It was like these two guys that were fishing that got abducted and got worked on and stuff. And the famous story was that the police didn't believe them. They thought they were drunk. They put them in a drunk tank, and then the camera caught them like talking to each other, being like freaked the fuck out. Like what happened? And crazy stuff, man.
They got abducted in like the middle of a lake or something.
They worked at like a refinery or something, and it was like on a I guess like kind of like a marsh, almost like multiple canals that are kind of connected to a lake, and they were fishing, and they heard what sounded like a whoop sound, and they turned around, and there was this craft that was floating, and they said they were paralyzed, they couldn't move, and it was like, and they draw it. It's for anybody that's interested. It's called the Pascagoula, Mississippi UFO abduction.
Pascagoula, baby. Let me tell you something. Let's go to the Pascagoula Civic Center, Daddy. Pascagoula, Mississippi. Tully Blanchard.
No offense to anybody from there. That place is a total shithole. So, but that, yeah, it is. But that's an interesting case.
All of Mississippi.
The Travis, who's, yeah, pretty much. Just keep driving till you hit Florida. Go past Alabama too. But it was the Travis Walton, the guy that was on Unsolved Mysteries, the Fire in the Sky guy. That's there's multiple witnesses to that. That is still one of the crazier ones.
Oh yeah.
I like watching all that shit though. Like the Pluto TV has the Unsolved Mysteries channel for free. You can watch it all day long.
That's cool.
And
there's a guy.
Episodes are great.
You ever watch a guy on YouTube that his name's Nexpo? He'll do like the disturbing things I found on the internet, or like the lost.
Yeah, I think
lost me. He's pretty good.
Yeah, I think we were looking up some of that stuff for that one show that we did about what was it, Lost Media or something like that.
Yeah,
I don't remember.
Well, since you brought that up, what's your thoughts on possibly within the year the JFK files been released. That they don't release the JFK files, like.
Oh, time.
But do you think there'll be actually anything in it, or they just clean everything up before they release it?
I don't. There's something more to that too, but they're going to release it, but there's going to be certain things marked out on it or taken out. That's
It'll be a
always what
lot
the
of
government does.
redacted information.
Yeah.
The new theory, it seems that it was LBJ behind it. That's the updated new theory I've heard based on, I guess, new stuff. For what reason, I don't know. I haven't really looked into it, but I know somebody went to the site. They went to Dallas, and they said, believe it or not, the street and the grassy knoll are not that big of an area. Like, it looks way bigger in the Zapruder movie. And
I mean, I don't know for certain. It depends which rumors you believe. Some say that JFK was into drugs and that he was a bit loosey-goosey and they were too afraid of him. Some say that he wanted out of the whole Cuba thing, but they wanted more of a war to make more money. If you believe the rumors,
the mafia rigged the election for him, and then his brother went after the mafia as soon as he got in.
Or that Lyndon got in touch with the mafia and it's like, can you get this done? And we'll blame it on this guy. It just depends on what you look into, who you believe. I don't know. There's so many theories.
That theory that's in the movie JFK, the mafia theory, the mafia boss they're talking to, like, lived down here. And his house from way back in, like, I guess it was a little bit secluded, but, in the 60 years since then, everything's been built up. So you have, like, an Exxon station and a few, like, regular houses, and then this big-ass, like, mafia mansion with, like, stone lions in the front yard and, something you'd see out of Scarface just randomly sticking out like a sore thumb.
Wow. Well, I think if those JFK files do get released, not to sound too conspiratorial, but it will be to distract us from something else.
Mm-hmm.
It'll be a distraction from something else that's going on.
I'm waiting for the Epstein list.
I don't think we're ever going to get that.
I don't think we're ever going to get that. No.
Travis Walton, according to Jackson Jack, is for sure a hoaxer. He won a sci-fi writing contest a few weeks before his abduction happened with the same exact story of his abduction. Did you ever hear that part of the story?
No.
I haven't heard that either. Well, guys, it's been a lot of fun. We're well over 2 hours. We will definitely try to do we try to do them every month, but sometimes it just doesn't work out. But it's always fun getting on here. Ben, man, we appreciate you coming on, and definitely welcome back whenever we do these again. Great addition.
Thanks for having me, guys.
Yeah. And Rambo, what you got coming up on your channel, man?
Another 100 videos.
Is the Poonies on there yet? I haven't checked.
Not yet. Okay. Not yet. I'm working myself up.
I want a Poonies VHS. Somebody out there hook me up. Where can I get the Poonies on VHS?
Vinegar Syndrome has it coming to you for $69.99.
I would get it for 4K Poonies.
But as for me, just have a couple videos just uploaded. One on just watch all the way through Paradise Lost. Very interesting.
Oh yeah, love those.
Finally saw all the way through the first one. Didn't see the other ones, but one quick question: who do you? I've only seen the first one. Do you have a theory as to who actually did the crimes? No.
There was a guy, they don't know who it was. They referred to as Mr. Bojangles that same night at the truck stop. Was covered in mud and blood and was locked himself in the bathroom.
But didn't he have one arm? I heard somewhere that he only had one arm, the guy. I don't know if that's true or not. Which would be hard to do if you only had one arm.
I still think that there's a good chance that they originally had the right guys. Now, I mean, at least Damien. Like, to me, his behavior after he got out and, like, all the stuff that he's still into, you would think if you were locked up for over 20 years or whatever the hell it was and accused of being, this satanic, witch or whatever the hell they said he was. Why would you still be like into that shit? To me, that makes no sense.
I mean, he was doing all that hard time. He probably was a poser before. That hard time fucked with his head. Now he's the real deal, maybe.
That's
That could be
possible.
it.
Well, that's what I was gonna say as well. Is like I don't know if Damien did it all, but I do wonder if he did something, because why would you go through all that and then still say things like he says? It
What
just
is it?
doesn't make any sense.
I haven't been keeping up with him. What does he do? Like,
He's
It's
doing like witchcraft arts. He's got these weird freaking like tattoos all over his arms with like these symbols and everything. And if you follow him, like I don't know if he's still on Instagram, but he posts the weirdest shit on there on like almost a daily basis, like witchcraft stuff, the occult.
Yeah,
He
he's
does,
always been the Wicca. I think it's the
Yeah.
Wiccan.
yeah. And you would think
yeah.
somebody should. I guess him being locked up all the time, somebody should let him know it's not 1999 anymore.
yeah.
He's making up for lost time.
But he's the only one, though. The other two are completely out of, which
Yeah.
I mean, most common people with common sense, they would want to get away from the spotlight.
That's the thing. It was those two in particular which made me think they didn't do it. First of all, the one guy is like not all there. The the one that they confessed.
Yes.
He died, right?
Yeah.
What's his name? Mark Byers.
Mark Byers.
Oh, that
Remember
guy, yeah.
The second one. Is it the second one? He has this. It's a great scene where he's drunk off his ass and he starts playing church music and he starts singing, and the camera just sits on. It's like the end of the documentary for like 2 minutes straight as he's having his like hysterical church singing.
So Rambo,
he's gonna get
had
revenge.
you never seen any of those movies before?
I had heard you guys talk about it, bits and pieces, but I never watched all the way through because it's just such a depressing story.
The first two are great. Like
Yeah, I
those
saw
are
the first
amazing. The third one's okay, and it kind of follows like how they got out and everything.
Yeah.
But the first two are amazing documentaries. Like I think those two is what really got me into like the true crime documentaries and stuff.
It really was like a kangaroo court, like some My Cousin Vinny type shit. The dude, the witchcraft guy that it looked like he read up on it an hour before he even got in the courtroom. And it was wild.
Yeah, the first was definitely interesting. And when I watch it, it made me go, yeah, it didn't seem like they did because of all the things that didn't make sense. Like them not having any mosquito bites, but yet they were supposed to be outside at this point in time, or the fact that everybody's like scrawny, but yet at the crime scene there's no blood at all. So it's like, well, how do they do this and that? A lot of things that just didn't make sense. The guy's like, oh, it happened at noon. Are you sure? Oh, it happened after school. Are you sure? Oh, sure, it happened at night. See, I think you don't know the difference between noon and night. That's when it happened. I mean,
you would think that they're still young kids at the time. What? Damien was the oldest one, like 18 years old, that they wouldn't be able to clean all that up and not leave much evidence. Like that is there was no evidence really.
No,
that's why I think it was somebody that did it, and because the town was by an interstate too, and just got the hell out. I mean,
it was the guy's like he forgets he cut his thumb. He's like, oh, I didn't cut my thumb, and like I was like, oh yeah, I forgot I cut my thumb. The buyer's guy, he said, just. The knife is new, it's brand new. Oh shit, there's blood on it? Yeah, I cut myself accidentally.
He kind of did He kind of did a face turn in the third movie. Where he turned face, yeah. Because you could tell like it I think over the year he realized that the person who killed his stepson was still out there. I guess over time, there was more shit that came out over the years with DNA evidence and stuff like that. I mean,
so it could have just been like a random person going by, get everything and left. But
that's what they were kind of alluding to. I think in the second one.
I think
in the second documentary,
I mean, the amount of murder cases that happen that go cold like that, just because people that'll do it and then just get the fuck out of Dodge. That's what I think happened. The fact that people said they saw a bloody, muddied up guy the night before the boys were
That's what I
murdered
think
on the
happened.
other side, the interstate from where the woods were.
Yeah.
With that
Yeah.
John Benet Ramsey thing, it was just some
Yeah.
random fucking guy that got in there that they'll never ever find who it was.
Well,
They
they don't
fucked
talk
up
about.
That
They don't
whole
talk
crime
about.
scene.
Yeah, they couldn't handle it. They let all family and friends console the parents that were leaving fucking, footprints and DNA everywhere. They didn't close up the crime scene. But nobody talks about the fact that in that same town, another little girl that was in the beauty pageants, the same exact class as Jean Bonnet, there was a home invasion and some dude was trying to, and the mother fought him off and he ran out.
I'd never heard that. That's
Yeah.
It's in the new Netflix doc that they did. They talk about that in that one.
I've not watched that yet. I hadn't been in a space where I'm like, yeah, I'll take in something that's
Right.
depressing and heavy, for a couple hours.
Well, those the
only
Paradise
thing-
Lost ones came on in like the mid '90s, so that was one that I watched like first run when it came out.
It was like the originator of that genre, really.
Yeah, so everybody was talking about it, and yeah, I mean, there wasn't a whole lot of movies like that then, at least the ones that I'd seen. So I kind of got hooked on that sort of shit after that.
Not the same, not a true crime or anything, but the other Joe Berlinger documentary, Metallica, Some Kind of Monster. That's entertaining to see, like
Wes's favorite.
the biggest prima donnas. Fucking, oh man, the death of a band in front of your eyes.
Yeah,
as you once knew it.
One last thing I'll say about the Damien. Again, this is only based on the first one I saw.
And you got
Damien,
that review out, right? Is that already?
Yeah,
out?
I just uploaded it a few days ago. I think Damien Echols, the way I look at him, is again not knowing the stuff he did afterward. He's a stubborn weirdo like Johnny Depp. Does it remind me? He's like Johnny Depp, who's like even now he's like a stubborn weirdo. Who's so stubborn, he'll still keep talking about his Wiccan things no matter what. And he may not be a nice guy, but I don't know if he's... I mean, I know, I could absolutely be wrong.
Well, I will say this, Rambo. I do know a few people who are Wiccan or Wicca, whatever the proper terminology is, right? They don't say weird shit like that.
Oh, okay.
He's a different level.
Oh, okay. So I don't know what he says nowadays, so I'm out of the loop on that.
Yeah, Johnny Depp's courtroom case was a little bit more entertaining than Damien Echols.
A little bit.
A little stinkier. Phantasm Matt was saying that he's posting more about karate nowadays, so he may have changed a little bit, Damien.
That's good.
He caught up on Cobra Kai since he got out of jail.
Yeah. Mark, have you got anything coming up on your channel, man?
At the moment, no, not right now.
Should have put a review out of the monkey.
I didn't think about that. I should have.
What happened to unboxing? We don't do unboxing or something?
He's waiting on some
Oh,
packages
yeah,
from
yeah.
Germany.
I actually am. But no, that should be up pretty soon. I had to work out some editing issues with that. But the West Memphis 3 thing, was that ever available on anything besides DVD? Was it only on those old DVDs?
I think so. I don't know if I don't believe they
It
did
was
a Blu-ray.
streaming on HBO, whatever HBO streamer was called before it went to Max. It was streaming on a version of that at one point.
Okay.
But it's not there anymore.
You know what's crazy now that I think about it? The first time I saw that, it was in another one of those things because of the show. Y'all put it over so much that I watched it. It was on YouTube. Like,
wow,
those first 5 minutes.
Yeah,
that was on YouTube back then. Yeah.
Yeah, YouTube back then you could put anything. You could put porn on there. It was pornographic on YouTube.
Yeah, I got to try to track those down. Yeah, it wasn't a whole lot of true crime stuff back then. Well, one other thing was like the Brandon Tina story. That documentary was out back then. That's the Boys Don't Cry case.
Yeah.
Well, that's the movie, but still, the chick from that. That was the only other thing. But yeah, I'm gonna look for that. I would like to check that out again.
Yeah, there should be like a box set of those out. You would think on Blu-ray or something, but I don't think they ever did.
That's
That'd be a
what I
good. That'd be a good show idea. Favorite, documentaries, docuseries.
We
There's
did
so many
do
good ones.
an interview with Joe Berlinger, who directed those movies back in the day.
You guys should
You
get
ever heard-
Damien on the show.
Yeah.
Nah, I'm good. Car, did you ever do anything online? I don't like
Nah, not really.
YouTube or anything.
Maybe. Nah, not.
You get started.
Just
on
don't
that?
have time. Yeah, just gotta find time.
And
Most of my
do
time after work, I'm just exhausted. Don't even feel like.
you have
editing
anything you
or-
wanted to promote on here, YouTube page or anything?
I don't really do anything on YouTube either, but I do write movie reviews for comiccon.com. So I've been doing movie reviews on there for 7 years now. Unfortunately, it's a freelance thing, so I can't make a living at it. Still trying to find a way to make a living at writing, but I haven't cracked that yet. But if you ever want to go on there and read any of my stuff, I do a franchise column, do some new release reviews, and I'm kind of the resident horror guy as well. So
Cool. Very cool.
Nice.
Awesome. Well, guys, I appreciate everybody tuning in. A lot of people in the chat all night. We still have well over 100 people in here checking us out. Jackson Jack has been burning it to hell up on here, boys. I don't know if he's on like speed or what the hell's going on.
He
A
said.
lot of coffee.
He said. He must be talking about Damien Eccles. He said witch karate.
But yeah, everybody in the chat's awesome, and we will catch you guys next time on DEADPIT.
.com.
I want all these people to click everything they're supposed to click.
You haven't been liking them, you haven't been subscribing to them, you haven't clicked the bell or notification or anything like that.
Folks, why don't you click the like button?
Do you hate us? Do you not want to see us succeed?
Why don't you click the heart button?
Is this something that you have against our particular show?
Why don't you subscribe?
You should click on one of them buttons right now if you want us to continue to bring greatness into your life.
There's all kinds of wonderful shirts over at shop.deadpit.com. Simply the best horror shirts. On TeePublic, there are others, but they all suck. You can get some Dead Pit Radio shirts. You can get Last South on the Left. The Hills Have Eyes. Texas Chainsaw. Oh, wait, you can't say Texas Chainsaw. All kinds of shirts, folks. You're gonna love them. Shop.deadpit.com.
Special thanks goes out to our supporters on Patreon. You know what kind of stuff you can get on Patreon, Uncle Bill, starting at only $1 a month?
What's that?
Access to every Dead Pit show since 2005. We got almost 200 fan commentaries that we've done over the decades.
Here's what other fucking Patreons do. They're like, hey, give us money and then we'll let you see a video early that we're going to release like a fucking week from now, and then that's all we're going to give you. Meanwhile, we have a literal jukebox full of songs, thousands of reviews. I don't even know how many shows are up on there now that we've done over the years.
Hundreds of thousands.
You need to figure this out now and subscribe to us on Patreon and YouTube and Instagram and help us to 1 million. The road to 1 million subscribers starts today.
So Dead on Patreon.com. Join today. Tiers start at only $1, but I'd recommend at least the $10 tier.
You can do 50. The stock market's crashing around us, folks, but send us money.